And we are back like we never left. We are here yet again to lay witness to another battle between the 76ers and the Raptors. Two teams that just played each other last night, witnessing the second matchup between these two teams here tonight in a back-to-back. Both games in Toronto, of course. Don't think they're doing back-to-back games home and away anymore, but either way, here in Toronto, these two teams are going to go at it again. It was an overtime game last night, so expect these two teams really start ramping up their aggression here today, start leaning on their defense. Should benefit Toronto more than Philly, but of course, this is why we play the games. Let's get into it. We are back. We're here. Once again, some more basketball. Because we don't take nights off, we are here every single night because there are games to cover every single night. And tonight, it is a rematch between these two teams that played each other last night in what was an excellent basketball game, ended up going into overtime. Toronto ended up pulling it out in the game in which they definitely should not have been able to pull it off, and yet they did against the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, they were without Joel Embiid, they were without Paul George, something you could say more times than not this season, but Toronto has been without RJ Barrett, this time for a different injury, but he's been out more times than not this year. Now out with a rolled ankle, unfortunately, just as he came back and was starting to play well again. He is out again with a sprained ankle here today. Probably going to be out a little while as well. But they were also without Brandon Ingram, a very important player to what they do. But they will have Brandon Ingram back here tonight. Paul George, actually, I'm not sure about Paul George. Yeah, I do know Joel Embiid is playing. Jason, what's up, Jason? Justice is dead. Jason said Ingram and Barnes in the lineup today as well as Embiid. So, yes, we know Embiid is back. We know Ingram is back. Let me know about Paul George, if there is anything up about Paul George. Archie Gaming, what's up, Archie? But we are here. We are here yet again for another interesting game. Just that to Toronto lost Jacoby Walter in the first quarter. Colin Murray-Boyles and Elijah Martin made an impact. Murray-Boyles starting at 17 points, 15 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 blocks. Yes, and the game tying assist to send the game into overtime over to Jamal Shed for the floater along the baseline. It was a great play. Jay said George is starting as well, so Paul George is also back. So it should be, these two teams should be going at it, throwing haymakers at each other yet again. It is going to be, a barn burner of a game. That's for sure. MBM, what's up, MBM? RC Gaming said, great Knicks game yesterday. Knicks got back on track. No Knicks game until Wednesday, so we're going to have some time. We're going to have some time, a little bit of a break. They needed it. We needed it. Some time away from this Knicks team. The fan bases needed it. Josh Hart is back. It seems like the vibes are starting to be restored. Everything is at peace. Everything is at equilibrium yet again. Funny how that works. Funny how winning a basketball game in a fashion in which they should be winning basketball games can do to the confidence of your basketball team. Archie said, impact of the Josh Hart. Absolutely. Absolutely. MBM said, shout out to our Cather Chevy. Appreciate you, MBM. Appreciate you. So let's go through it. Let's run through each team's rotation. We've watched a plethora of 76ers games. We've watched a plethora of Raptors games. So we know these teams well. We know their rotations well. Let's go through it. We're going to start with the away team. That's going to be the Philadelphia 76ers. And, of course, we start with their best player, and that is Tyrese Maxey. In case there was anybody thinking it was this guy, let me tell you, it is no longer this guy. Shout out to this guy. He's actually having a pretty decent year. We'll get to him in a second here. But, of course, we start with the leader in the ball club, in the locker room, Tyrese Maxey, 31 a game, 4.5 rebounds, almost 7 assists. Just actually slightly down now that Joel Embiid is back playing a little bit more regularly. And has commandeering some of the offense as well to help take some of the scoring burden off of Tyrese Maxey. But in doing so, some of his playmaking stats are dipping down a little bit. It was hovering around 7.5 to start the year. It's now dipping down a little bit below 7, still hovering around 7, so not too big of a deal. But the efficiency is slightly up, 47.7 from the field, 40% from three-point range, because he is getting easier shots with a lot of the attention being played to guys like Embiid, guys like Paul George, guys like Edgecombe. Now Kelly Oubre is also back after missing the start of the year. So a lot is coming together for the Philadelphia 76ers, who are very much in the top 6 of the Eastern Conference right now, and are trending upwards. They're trending really, really well right now. Things are coming together for them. There's a guy I want to talk about that I didn't have time to do a new player graphic for, but also I didn't want to take another guy out of the player graphic conversation because I do want to talk about him. Not that I think he's going to play today, but I did want to talk about him. But we know what Tyrese Maxey is capable of. Probably it's like a tie between him and De'Aaron Fox, and I think at this point, with De'Aaron Fox getting a little bit older and Tyrese Maxey entering his prime here, I think Tyrese Maxey is the fastest guy in the league, or at the very least, the quickest guy in the league. I mean, this guy is a blur out there, even in the half court, in transition especially, on the fast break especially, but even just in the half court, he can just go from 0 to 100 in a blink of an eye, and he's at the rim, and it's the most difficult thing to guard, especially when you have shooters around him. Edgecombe is proving a knockdown at 3. So you got him, you got Paul George now, you have Embiid back out there shooting the 3 well, shooting perimeter jumper as well, and the more guys you can put on the court to take attention away from Tyrese Maxey, the easier it is for Tyrese Maxey to get to his spots and do what he does. He's been excellent this year. He is probably going to be a start in the All-Star game over Donovan Mitchell, because Donovan Mitchell, as good of a season as he's having, the Cavs are not having a very good year. And so I'm sure he'll be penalized for that to some degree. But Tyrese Maxey, he's All-NBA, All-Star starter, on his way to really becoming a true blue franchise, knocking on that door of superstardom. We say it all the time. Guys can knock on the door, but it's really difficult to get to the point of superstardom because that is all about maintaining a consistent level of awesomeness night after night, season after season. Tyrese Maxey, he's knocking on that door. Still young, still has some consistency left to prove that he is actually a true blue superstar, but he is right there, right around the corner of proving that. Oda Austin, what's up, Oda? We get to Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, 23.5 points, 7.1 rebounds, 3.3 assists. He's slowly but surely getting back to the Joel Embiid that has been hampered and slowed down by injuries. 47% from the field, 23.4% from three-point range. He's not shooting it well, but he's still a threat from out there. Teams still don't want to leave him too open. Like they would prefer him shooting threes rather than shooting mid-range shots, because it definitely feels like he's knocking those down with regularity right now. The threes are on their way as well. Embiid started off the year really badly, has really started to come around, really starting to gain confidence in that knee right now. That is a scary prospect for the rest of the league, because you have Maxey playing the way that he's playing. You got this introduction of VJ Edgecombe. You have Quinn Grimes off the bench, who's in the running for Sixth Man of the Year. Suddenly you start looking at this team and, oh boy, are they deep. I didn't even get to mention this guy right here, Paul George. Paul George is having a very weird season, just in the sense that he's just under the radar. I've talked about here where PG's obviously at the back end of his career, and he's reinventing his game and becoming a high-level role player. And I was questioned about how quickly he was going to be able to adjust to that position in his career and how willing he was going to be to adjust to that, because he is a guy who, at one point in his career was finishing top 5 in MVP ballots. He was making All-Star, perennial All-Star, perennial All-NBA selections, all kinds of things before he ever put on a 76ers uniform. Even his last year with the Clippers before he came to Philly, he was still phenomenal. I believe he made third team All-NBA that year, and he was still viewed as one of the cream of the crop, high-level two-way players in the NBA. And now he's just kind of go stand behind the three-point line that let Maxey and Embiid cook. Maybe VJ Edgecombe will get involved, and then if the ball swings to you, maybe you take the shot, maybe you make a play from there. But we're not highlighting Paul George all that often anymore. 16 a game, 5.4 boards, 3.5 assists, 37.7% from three-point range, only 41% from the field. He's not really doing a whole lot inside the arc right now. Not a lot is going his way, not being all that consistent in there. But the three-point shooting is going down. He's always still knocking down his free throws, getting up to 16 points per game. Extremely high-level role play right now. And, oh, by the way, him realizing that he doesn't have to take on the burden offensively the way he maybe thought he was going to have to, and accepting the fact that he's going to have to take a step back offensively, whether it's because of him and his age and his body, or because he's just like, hey, you guys go do what you think, and he's been mature about that. Whichever reason it is, what he has clearly taken from it is, oh, I can just put my whole effort and consciousness into playing defense this year. He's been awesome defensively this year for the 76ers, who started the year off without Paul George when he didn't start the year healthy. The 76ers were one of the worst perimeter defensive teams in the league. They couldn't stay in front of anybody. They were relying on VJ Edgecombe to be their perimeter stopper, which I can tell you right now is never a good sign when you're relying on a rookie guard to be your perimeter point of attack defender, no matter how good they are. And VJ Edgecombe's a good rookie, good defender for a rookie, good defender for almost anybody, any guard. But once they got Paul George back in working in tandem with VJ Edgecombe and some of the other guys they have, suddenly that slides guys like Tyrese Maxey down the totem pole. He could be hitting on guys and using his quickness and his speed, be disruptive defensively. And then all of a sudden, oh, wow, this perimeter defense that Philly could put out there suddenly feels like they can lock down on the perimeter against teams. It feels phenomenal. It feels fantastic for Philly because they can have lineups out there of Paul George, Maxey, Edgecombe, Grimes, guys like that, flying around the perimeter, rotating, talking to each other, rotations after rotations, really smart, staying in front of guys even. Grimes, good defender, Edgecombe, good defender, Paul George, good defender, and the speed of Maxey can make things very dangerous for ball handlers going up against this team. Jared McCain, interesting to have Jared McCain this high in the rotations. I probably should fix that because if you've been keeping up with what Philly has been doing, he has been sliding down that totem pole on this team, which is a tough watch considering he was in the running for Rookie of the Year during his draft class last year before getting injured. Obviously, it was not a very good draft class, but he just kind of seems like the odd man out of this team right now, especially considering that you have the rise of Maxey, you have VJ Edgecombe, who's been a revelation as a rookie, you have Quentin Grimes off the bench, and you start looking around to Jared McCain. It's like, where are you supposed to get minutes, right? Because we don't really want a ton of lineups out there of just McCain and Maxey because we want Edgecombe, the defensive Edgecombe, or we want the defensive Grimes. and Maxey's playing 35, 36 to 37, 38 minutes a night. So if you're really only in there as Maxey's backup, you're not really going to get a ton of opportunity. You have to have lineups where McCain is going to share the court with Maxey. The issue is the other options at the guard spot are just significantly better than Jared McCain right now. And so he's just kind of getting squeezed out of the rotation, which is really unfortunate for him. This is a far cry, a very large fall for a guy who was averaging like 12, 13, 14 points a game last year as a rookie. Obviously, he's not been able to garner any kind of rhythm in his game right now. In his shot, 35% from the field, 32% from three-point range is rough, and we know he's better than that. Maybe it's just an extended thing of coming back from the injury and finding his role in this team, but as of right now, not looking too good for Jared McCain. Twilson, what's up, Twilson? And now we get to VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe is in the running for Rookie of the Year, for sure. His name is definitely going to be brought up. We are definitely going to have conversations about him at the end of the year. The issue is he just happens to be in the same draft class as Cooper Flagg, who is a generationally talented prospect here for his rookie year. To me, he is the leader in the clubhouse for Rookie of the Year. He is going to win it. I have no doubts about that, unless a surprise injury happens, which obviously nobody is rooting for, nobody is accounting for at this point. VJ Edgecombe, phenomenal rookie year. Any other year, he probably wins it. It's a great battle between he and Con Knipple outside of Cooper Flagg, who was just number one. But it's a great battle between VJ Edgecombe and Con Knipple for the number 2 overall pick. 16 a game for the number 2 finisher in Rookie of the Year, for the runner-up. 16 a game, 5.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, doing a little bit of everything as a rookie, as well as playing phenomenal defense. He's becoming a defensive playmaker, 1.6 steals, 0.5 blocks, 1.7 turnovers, not turning the ball over, which is excellent. I know they're not asking him to do a ton of creation, but still finding 4.2 assists and under 2 turnovers as a rookie is phenomenal. I know he's an off-ball guard. He has a ton of other ball handlers around him to take some of the pressure off of him, but still, this is very impressive. 37% from 3 for a guy who came into the league with the scattering report of a very shaky jump shot. And if you watched him at Baylor, he was really just a slasher. The guy would get downhill and utilize his athleticism to just kind of jump out of the gym and finish through contact and whatnot. And yet, knowing he was coming into the NBA, going up against awesome athletes, 7-footers on every night, Every team has a 7-footer, if not multiple 7-footers. So knowing he's going to have to go up against those guys, he knew he was going to have to develop that jump shot. And boy, oh boy, he's coming out the gate showing, like, I'm ready and willing to put in the work to become a consistent jump shooter, as well as still having the driving game. And the shooting is just opening up the driving game. That's how you get the 16 a game so far for Edgecombe. He's been phenomenal. Been absolutely phenomenal. We get the Kelly Oubre, who's missed majority of the year. I believe this is only a second or third game back, something like that. 14.4 points, 5 boards, 1.1 assists. He's back to doing Kelly Oubre things. He is their wild card. His size makes him extremely versatile, but his inconsistencies keep his role limited, right? So he's really just a really solid role player. 47% from the field, 32% from three-point range. Not going to take too much out of his traditional counting stats. We could just talk about Kelly Oubre as a whole throughout his career. He's now 30 years old. He's been in the league long enough where we could just kind of banter about what he's done. The thing with Kelly Oubre, I think this is his 10th year, right? Didn't he come into the league at 2016, something like that? The thing with Kelly Oubre is this guy right here. He's a wing who can't really consistently knock down the three. The effort is usually there. That was a bit of an issue earlier in his career, but for the most part, the effort is usually there. The tenacity is there. The defense, as his career has gone on, has been there. The attacking and finishing at the rim, for the most part, is usually there. Everything is there except for consistent shooting. And in the NBA, if you're a perimeter player and you can't consistently shoot the ball, you have to be elite at everything else. He's not elite at everything else. He's just really solid. And so, like I said, his versatility is invaluable to teams, but his inconsistencies has always limited him as a role player here. Really good, really valuable, and with the depth that the 76ers have shown that they have on this team, it really just improves the value of Kelly Oubre, because if he doesn't have it and he's kind of sinking your team offensively, you have other options that you go to. But if he's hitting, boy, oh boy, you got a 6'8 wing who can lock down defensively and maybe knock down threes at night. It's a tough guy to match up with. We get to Justin Edwards, who's probably going to be squeezed out of this rotation here as Philly is slowly starting to get healthier. 5.1 points, 1.7 rebounds, 1.2 assists. He really established himself last year by knocking down the three-point shot consistently as a good role player for them. But obviously this year we could see 33% from three-point range, 36% from the field. It's just not good enough. It's just not good enough to consistently garner minutes on this team, especially now that you get Oubre back. You have Paul George in and out of the lineup. You have much better options on the wings. Still a good guy to have on the bench as a depth piece because he can come in and knock down a shot. But he is not, with the opportunity he got to start the year, he has not won himself over with any minutes or any confidence here from the coaching staff. So I'm going to be interested in Justin Edwards, see if he can find his way back in the rotation, or maybe if the coaching staff is just going to keep him around and keep him in the rotation. Let's see. Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond isn't in the rotation anymore. Adem Bona has won those backcourt spots, and this is the guy I was talking about where he probably needs to be replaced with Adem Bona now in our pregame talks here, in the pregame show with these player graphics, because I don't have an Adem Bona player graphic. I still have the Andre Drummond player graphic when Adem Bona was hurt and Drummond was playing well for the 76ers here. 7 points, 8.8 rebounds, all the things, yada, yada, yada. We can talk about that till we're blue in the face. The thing that's crazy is 39.5% from three. Who told Drummond he can shoot threes? Who did that? Because whoever did needs a raise. I do this rant every single time because it's still crazy. You would think this number would eventually fall down. He's shooting 40% from three, guys. This is the craziest development in the NBA season by far. I don't care what anybody else does. I don't care what any other game outcomes become. I will always be fascinated by 32-year-old Andre Drummond in what, year 12, year 13, realizing, you know what, I'm just going to shoot threes and knock them down at an extremely high level for a big man. This is impressive. This blows my mind. 39.5% from three is crazy. Is crazy. He is no longer a part of the rotation, though. I'd be surprised if we saw him tonight. We get to Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes is it going to be in the running for sixth man of the year if he continues up this level of play. He's been phenomenal off the bench for Philly. 14.4 points, 3.9 rebounds, 3.9 assists. The only reason he won't be in the discussion is because he's not getting a ton of pressure right now for his good play. There's also this notion that he's playing for a contract, considering he's betting on himself accepting the qualifying offer from Philly. So there may not even be an opportunity for Philly to bring him back next year. We'll see. They obviously really like him. They obviously really need him. 14.4 points and 4 is really solid off the bench because he gives you a little bit of everything in the limited amount of minutes that he can get sometimes. Still hovers around 30 to 30 plus minutes a game. 1 steal, 0.5 blocks. We know he can be a really good perimeter defender. 2.2 turnovers, 44% from the field, 36% from three-point range. You'd like some of the efficiency to be a little bit higher, but not bad at all for a guy coming off the bench. And supplying this level of production is always excellent off the bench. And now we get to Toronto. And Toronto is probably, there's a couple of surprise teams in the NBA, but I think Toronto's my favorite surprise team. I was not confident one bit about the Toronto Raptors. And right now they're sitting at 24-16. Philly is sitting at 21-16. After Toronto beat them last night, they're kind of tied. They are tied in the loss column here. Scottie Barnes is the head of the snake. He is the best player on this team, despite some of the counting stats may look a little bit more impressive from other guys, but I will say these are dang impressive counting stats here. 19.4 points, 8.4 rebounds, 5.3 assists. Really phenomenal output right here for Scottie Barnes, which is probably, the counting stats look a little similar to past seasons for Scottie Barnes. The thing is that his consistency, his effort, his impact has been far greater so far this year. 1.3 steals, 1.4 blocks. He's averaging damn near 3 stocks a game, which is incredible. 2.6 turnovers is good for a high usage ball handler like himself. 50% from the field is phenomenal. 83.7% from the foul line is really good. 34.5-ish% from three-point range is dipped down from where he was earlier in the year, hovering around 40. Now he's dipping down to around 34.5, which is probably a lot closer to where he is as an actual three-point shooter. He's not much of a threat out there. You want to dare him to shoot. You'll live with him taking three-point shots rather than putting his head down and getting to the basket. But Scottie Barnes is having a phenomenal year, and he has been so dang impactful defensively. I hope he gets recognition for it because he definitely deserves it. Should be in the conversation for one of the all-defensive teams so far, halfway through the year. He's definitely proved it. David Haas Jr., what's up, David? Said, sorry I missed yesterday. I'm in the hospital. Reconstructive surgery on my foot yesterday. Oh, I'm wishing you well, David. I'm wishing you well. Never have to apologize, brother. Lano Monas, what's up, Lano? We get over to Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram, 21.8 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, 3.6 assists for Brandon Ingram. Really impressive counting stats for him. 47% from the field is solid, 35% for three-point range is okay. We know he could be a shaky three-point shooter, particularly off the catch. Actually, all over the place. Off the catch, off the bounce, it doesn't matter. Can be a little bit of a shaky three-point shooter. I think I like him off the bounce a little bit more as a three-point shooter than off the catch. 82% from the foul line is always great. 0.8 steals, 0.8 blocks, 2.8 turnovers. A little high, but not the end of the world. He is a high usage ball handler, and they are playing majority of the year without RJ Barrett so far. Lana Mona said, should be a good game. It should be. It should be on this Monday night playoff football night. Brandon Ingram missed the last game they played against Philly, so it should be an interesting matchup to see how they match up with him, who they take away, how it fundamentally changes the way a team plays when one of their best players are out. So Brandon Ingram he's probably going to have a huge burden on the shoulders because, number one, it's always difficult to beat the same team twice in a row. And specifically, it's been a long time since I've seen this, but specifically when a team plays the same team in a back-to-back situation, right? Usually teams like that split. Let's see if Toronto can pull off the 2-0 victory over Philadelphia here. It's gonna be come off the back of Brandon Ingram and Scottie Barnes here, and RJ Barrett is out with the injury. He was out with a knee injury for a while. Finally came back. He was playing phenomenal to start the year. Finally came back from the knee injury. Picked up almost right where he left off and was playing phenomenal, and then goes down with an ankle sprain. Man just can't stay healthy so far this year. We get over to Emmanuel quickly, who is also going to have a huge impact on swinging this game one way or the other. If Quickly doesn't have a good game, Toronto doesn't have much of a chance of pulling it off. They need their core four down RJ Barrett, so now their core three to have really good, really impactful games in order to pull these off. Mostly because they just don't have a lot of consistency coming elsewhere. Like, it would be a surprise if some of their other guys, and we'll go through their rotation, it would be a surprise if some of those other guys step up in a way that is kind of outside of what they've averaged so far this year. But Quickly, 16.5 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, 6.3 assists, 1.7 turnovers, under 2 turnovers a game. This is the beauty of being tutelaged by Jalen Brunson right here and being under the guise of Tom Thibodeau. Do not turn the ball over. The number one creed of Tom Thibodeau coach teams tells his point guards, we are not playing with chance. We need to take care of the ball. We need to win the possession battle every game, and part of winning the possession battle is your guards taking care of the basketball. 1.7 assists under 2 is incredibly impressive for a point guard in the NBA. And I know there's a lot of ball handling responsibilities flying around for Toronto between Quickly, Ingram, Barnes, and RJ when he's healthy, but under 2 a game is phenomenal. We just went through Barnes. We just went through Ingram. Both of those guys are well over 2, hovering around 3. RJ is at 1.6. It's not, and he hasn't played a lot this year, so we don't have to go off of that entirely. But it's not surprising to me that the 2 guys who played under Tom Thibodeau early in their careers, Quickly his entire career before getting traded to Toronto, and also got to learn under guys like Jalen Brunson, don't turn the ball over all that much. They value the possession extremely, extremely highly. But Quickly is shooting 42.3% from the field and 35% from 3. We've talked about this all year. There's going to be a running storyline with Quickly, probably the entirety of his career until he just finally proves one way or the other whether or not he can legit be a starting point guard in the NBA, which this year, I don't know. Toronto Raptors fans would have to tell me, but I feel like he has definitely been leaning towards the side of like a good starting caliber point guard in the NBA. He's getting paid like he should be better than that. I get that, where the frustration might be coming from on that side, but Quickly still having a pretty dang good year. The efficiency has not been there to the level that you wanted to be there, but still learning on the job to be a better point guard. He still has a lot to learn. Self-creation isn't a top-tier skill yet for Emmanuel Quickly, and it kind of needs to be if you want to be a really good starting guard in the NBA. But we're just going to have to watch the development of the kid. He's still only 26 years old. I mean, he's not getting younger. He's starting to hit close to that prime age of his career, and is probably best as either an off-ball guard or an off-the-bench guard who plays somewhat something like 30 minutes a night. But Emmanuel Quickly, really invaluable right now for a team that doesn't really have a point guard, right? Relies a lot on everybody being a playmaker, like Barnes, like Ingram. It's not surprising to me that they utilize everybody to be playmakers on the team and don't just rely on the point guards. Kind of built that way for a reason. K Hazy, what's up, K Hazy? He said, get back in the gym quick. We get to Grady Dick. Grady Dick not having a very good year this year. He averaged 14 a game last year in what essentially boiled down to a throwaway season for the Toronto Raptors because of all the injuries. They made the Ingram trade. He did not play for them last year. And so it ended up, we're going to watch the Raptors broadcast. It ended up not being a great season for the Raptors. And so they were able to give guys like Grady Dick a ton of opportunity to just go out there and play. This year, he doesn't have that kind of leash, doesn't have that kind of leeway. They are much healthier. And they're actually into these games to win them. They're 24-16 so far this year. They played 40 games so far. They're at the halfway point of the year for themselves. 6.1 points, 1.9 rebounds, 0.6 assists. Even outside of scoring, not really doing much. You got to find other ways to impact the game if you're not going to be able to get your offense off. 40% from the field is bad. 31.5% from three-point range for a guy who's supposed to be a knockdown three-point shooter is really bad. With a retooled and healthier roster, Grady he just does not have the minutes to find himself. Kind of feels like an odd man out, similar to Jared McCain on the other side of the court that we're going to watch tonight. But every night it just feels like we're waiting for Grady Dick to just hit that point that he hit last year, where it was like everything just kind of made sense for him. He was knocking down mid-range shots. He was getting to the rim. He was knocking down threes. He was playing out of pick and roll. And right now, it's just often kind of just standing in the corner, standing on the wings, waiting to receive a pass. He needs to just get a little bit more aggressive out there. And, unlike some of the other guys, him, Jared McCain, he's only 22 years old, like McCain. I think McCain's only 21 years old. So these dudes are extremely young. It may not be with the teams that drafted them, but they're going to find a spot in this league to be good role players for years to come. We get to Jakob Poeltl, and I believe Jakob Poeltl is also out tonight, which is not good considering Embiid is available. Outside of Jakob Poeltl, the Toronto Raptors do not have a traditional big. The next guy on the totem pole is a guy we're talking about in a second here, in Sandro Mamukelashvili. And Sandro is 6'9", probably closer to a power forward than he is a center. He's definitely not a rim protector, and he's more of an offensive-minded big than a defensive-minded big. And so it's going to have to be by committee tonight to guard Joel Embiid. And what that means is expect Maxey to go off, expect guys like VJ Edgecombe and Oubre and Paul George and Quinn Grimes and Jeremy McCain to just get open looks, because it's going to take a village to stay in front of Joel Embiid if he has it going tonight. We're going to have to wait and watch. This is why we play the games. Prime, what's up, Prime? Looks like George already has 4 points. Wonderful stick with that. Wonderful stick with that to score a little bit more tonight. I would bet money that he's involved in bets gaming. All right, sure. Go ahead, brother. What do you think? We get the Ochai Agbaji, 4.3 points, 2.5 rebounds, 0.8 assists. Not having a good year at all. Look at this. 16.7% from three-point range for a guy who's supposed to be a 3-and-D perimeter scorer. He's a former lottery pick of the Utah Jazz, the 14th overall pick. He was at the tail end of the draft. Well, he was picked by the Cavs and then traded to the Jazz. But in the Donovan Mitchell deal, by the way. But this guy shot it well from three last year, and I don't particularly know what happened. He's just fallen off a cliff. I don't know what's going on with Toronto in general in shooting. A lot of these guys just have seemed to have lost confidence. We just talked about Grady Dick losing confidence, and yet Ochai Agbaji is also here. Can't buy basket. I mean, this is significantly better than where it was a couple of weeks ago, where he was shooting like 6% from three-point range. It's now up to 16.7. We'll round up for you, big dog. 17% from three is better than 6, but obviously that is not good either. Not much to say about him after that. We get to the rookie, CMB, Colin Murray Boyles, and he is the kind of rookie that has just gotten lost in the shuffle of the rookie craze this year between Flagg and Edgecombe and Knipple and Derek Queen and Dylan Harper, and the list can go on and on and on and on, but eventually you should also land on Colin Murray Boyles, who was so impactful the other night, made the game tying assist to Jamal Shead along the baseline for the floater that ultimately sent the game into overtime. There was like 0.5 seconds left on the clock when he made that pass and Shead made the layup. He has just been getting better and better and better as the year has gone on. He's garnering more and more minutes. He's the next man up in terms of entering the rotation when there are injured players. We'll see if he gets to start tonight. We'll see who starts tonight for the injured Jakob Poeltl and RJ Barrett. 7.4 points per game, 5 rebounds, 1.7 assists, doing a little bit of everything. A jack of all trades right now. 0.6 steals, 0.4 blocks. Pretty solid defender. Not a great defender, but pretty solid defender so far. 53.5% from the field, 36.6% from three. The fact that he's knocking down open threes, it doesn't take a lot of them. But if you leave him open, he's been taking them. There was a stretch there, like 20, 25 games into the year, he was shooting like 48% from three-point range. Obviously, it's gone down the more he's taken because he's not that level of shooter. Was not level that shooter coming into the NBA. He wasn't this level of shooter coming into the NBA. But he has been knocking it down with consistency for the most part. He's not taking a whole lot. He's taking smart threes, which is exactly what you need to do when you are not a good three-point shooter and you're more of a wing anyway. And honestly, plays as a downhill driver, more as a power forward / big. So this is a really good number for him to be at his rookie year. He's already proved that he's working on his jump shot, like VJ Edgecombe. Came into the league as a draftee, as a rookie here, with no expectation that he was going to be able to hit threes, and yet here they are, clearly showing that they put in the work so that they could hit threes. Durston, what's up, Durston? We get to Jacoby Walter. Durston said, get off the bet scamming train. It's lame. PJ has been hit or miss since he did his leg in Indiana. This is why, whatever you say, brother. I don't think anything in the NBA is rigged to that degree. You keep putting your money out there and you feel like you're getting scammed, stop putting your money out there, brother. Put it in your pocket. We get to Jacoby Walter, 6.1 points, 2.1 rebounds, 0.9 assists, like Ochai Agbaji, not to that degree, but like a lot of the other guys, like Grady Dick. It just has not been great. The lane has been open for Jacoby Walter to take that leap. I think a lot of people in Toronto were hoping and expecting Jacoby Walter to take even just a mini leap. He has not taken any sort of leap so far this year. 36.7% from three, 43% from the field. 6 points per game, 2.1 rebounds, 0.9 assists. Not doing a whole lot this year. 0.9 steals, 0.2 blocks, 0.5 turnovers. The disappointment comes in not necessarily in his play, but in his lack of play. Just not doing a whole lot, right? And with the injury to RJ Barrett, opportunity has opened up. And Toronto was like, hey, Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter, Ochai Agbaji, somebody step up and grab that playing time, grab that spot right now while RJ's out. And none of them have taken it so far. It's been really, really disappointing for those three wings this season because they needed somebody to step up and nobody has. And who knows where Toronto would be if somebody did. Durston, what's up, Durston? He said, thanks for your awesome commentary as always. Appreciate you, Durston. Appreciate you, brother. We get the Jamal Shead. Jamal Shed is he made the game-tying layup in regulation to send it in overtime. Really good year so far. He stepped up as the backup point guard of this team. 7.1 blocks, 7.1 points, 5.4 assists, a steal, 0.2 blocks, all of the things. Only 1.3 turnovers, which is incredibly good. Toronto, for the most part, does a really good job. Because even when we looked at Ingram and Barnes, they were both under 3, which I like to see for high usage ball handlers like them. And then you get to Jamal Shed, quickly, RJ, all those guys under 2, which is phenomenal for ball handling guards. 37% from the field is obviously extremely bad, but 33% for three-point range is okay, not great. But again, like a lot of the role players we've talked about, boy, oh boy, does Toronto just need these guys to get back to knocking down some shots. Not even like it has to be anything crazy like these guys got to get up to 40. Just get up to like 35, 36, 37, like respectable, get to respectable range. A lot of these guys are better shooters than their percentages shows, and it's hurt Toronto this year. They're 24-16. Again, who knows where they could be if they got regular production out of their guys. We get the Sandro Mamukelashvili, and if you're a Knicks fan, you know this name very, very well. Single-handedly beat the Knicks last year. I believe he was like 10 for 10 from three-point range. It was something crazy like that. 10.3 points per game, 5 boards so far this year for Toronto as their backup big. 51.5 from the field and 37% from 3. Again, this is kind of what he does. He's more of a stretch big. Like I said, 6'9". He's not getting to start tonight. Colin Murray-Boyles is getting the start, so they'll probably put Barnes matched up against Embiid with Murray-Boyles on help side on Barlow, but we'll see. The 76ers are starting Maxey, Edgecombe, George, Barlow, and Embiid. The Raptors are starting Jamal Shed, Emmanuel Quickley, Brandon Ingram, Scottie Barnes, and Colin Murray-Boyles. But Mamukelashvili stretches the court, grabs some rebounds, hustle guy, things like that. He's not getting the start tonight because they need more of a defensive presence out there. With that being said, that's going to wrap up our pregame coverage of these guys, and we're going to get right into the action here, right on time. Love to see it. Love to see it. Prime said go watch the last Pistons game, and you'll see that they lost because they took Duncan out of the game. He stopped scoring after halftime. They brought him in with 25 seconds to go. Maybe he just was a bad matchup, brother. He's not a good defensive player. If you feel like the NBA is rigged, stop putting your money on it, big dog. Stop putting your money on it. Stop complaining and take action in your life. There we go. Getting ready for the tip. And Toronto wins the tip. And Quickley will bring it down. Quickley has it up top. Toronto playing on their City Edition court, which is really just their classic court with the old-timey dinosaur and the purple inlay of the three-point line. They get over to Ingram. High post being guarded by George. This is a good matchup. George obviously a very good defender. Ingram, fall away midi. Got it to go to start the game for Brandon Ingram. Edgecombe bringing it down. Being guarded by Quickley. Edgecombe gets it over to Paul George. Paul George, jab step, coming to his left, driving it down, leans in, draws the foul on CMB, and he's going to go to the foul line for 2. Paul George getting some revenge on Ingram there, taking him off the bounce, drawing the foul. Prime said Chauncey Billups, along with 34 others from the NBA, were listed in an indictment regarding bets gambling. Football might be worse. Then stop putting your money on it, big dog. I don't know what to tell you. No one is telling you you have to bet money on sports to enjoy it. As a matter of fact, people were enjoying sports far before the betting scandals happened. You're complaining about something that literally should not matter to you one bit. Paul George knocks down the first free throw. Jason said, let's go Philly a bit deeper, I feel. Maybe, definitely, especially with their guys coming back from injury. Embiid is out there. Paul George is out there. Oubre is back from the injury. As far as Toronto, they don't have Jakob Poeltl, their starting center, and they don't have RJ, arguably their second or third best player. Quickly bringing it down after Paul George knocked down both free throws. Quickly, up top, crosses over to his left, hands it off to Ingram. Ingram, up top to Jamal Shed. Shed being guarded by Maxey. They get over to CMB Murray-Boyles. Murray-Boyles being guarded by Embiid. In the corner, Scottie Barnes will fire up a corner 3 over Barlow. Can't get it to go. Ingram skies for an offensive rebound, turns, pump fakes, loses the handle, quickly picks it up, has it at the foul line, pass fake floater, got it to go for Quickley. Good patient move to wait for the defenders to fly by. And here comes Edgecombe bringing it down. Edgecombe up top being guarded by Quickley. Get it over to George. George gets it over to Embiid in the post being guarded by Ingram. Cross-court pass to Maxey. They swing it back around to George. Coming to his left off the Embiid screen. Pull-up three for Paul George. Got it to go. Might be a Paul George night, the way he's come out firing to go. Barnes has it on the right wing to get it over to Murray Boyles. Murray Boyles hands it off to Quickly. Attacking to his left. As it at the foul line. Stop, turn, spins. Up top to Ingram. They spray it over to Shed. Shed coming to his right. Down the lane. Kicks it out quickly. Pump fakes out of the three. Driving it down along the baseline. Stops inside to Barnes. But gets knocked out of bounds by Barlow. Good offense from the Raptors, but better defense from Toronto there. I mean, from Philly there. Shed will inbound it. To get it into Barnes. Or to Ingram. Fall away baseline jumper off the inbound pass. Got it to go. And it continues to be Paul George versus Brandon Ingram here tonight. Embiid has it in the post, backing down Murray Boyles. To kick it up top to Edgecombe. They swing it over to George, now over to Maxey. Tacks off the bounce, gets into the mid-range, and knocks down a floater. And with no big man, no traditional big man out there for Toronto, they're just dumping it down to Embiid. Toronto's forced to double, and they're just swinging the ball around the perimeter and attacking closeouts. Very easy offense for Philly right now. And Toronto generates an open look for Barnes. He doesn't want to take the three. Settles for a mid-range floater. Can't get it to go. It was well contested. But the offensive rebound over to Murray Boyles. Gets it over to Quickly for the floater. Bouncing on the rim. And he gets a nice soft Halliburton bounce off the back of the rim. And he gets it to drop down. 7-8 with 9:20 to go. Paul George driving it down between the legs. Kicks it out to Embiid. Embiid up top being guarded by Murray Boyles. He's going to dance with it. Between the legs. Crossing over. Stop. Turn. Half spin. Pump fake. Steps through. Loses the handle. Ingram picks it up. Hit a head pass to Quickly. Quickly fires a right wing three after calling for it, and he got it to go. There you go, Quick. There you go. He was hustling down the court, and he was looking at Ingram like, hit me with the go-ahead pass, brother. Clapping for it. Finally got it, and he knocked it down. They get it over to Edgecombe, right wing three, trying to answer, and he does just that, answering with a three of his own. These two teams going back at it like they didn't stop. This feels like the sixth quarter after the overtime period. Ingram on the right wing coming to his right. And gets fouled by Paul George. Getting a little too handsy out there. 8:40 to go. Ten to 11. Toronto holding on to a 1-point lead. But pretty much these teams have gone back and forth. Neither team with an advantage right now. Jamal Shed has it up top. They get over to Ingram. Baseline pull-up jumper. Got it to go for Brandon Ingram. Edgecombe hit ahead to Paul George on the left wing, being guarded by Barnes, coming to his right behind the back, step back, pump fakes over to Embiid, up top, fires up a three over Murray Boyles, and he gets it to go. These guys are just not missing. This is a crazy start to the game. The defense is not even bad from either side. The offenses have just been incredible. Quickly kicks it out to Barnes. Barnes on the right wing, jab step, coming to his right, blows past Barlow in the lane, takes a bump, puts up the floater, can't get it to go, no foul call. Barlow hit a head pass to George. George bringing it down. Murray Boyles picks him up. George steps down the lane, puts up a high floater, can't get it to go. Embiid, the offensive rebound, goes in, draws the foul. He's going to go to the foul line for 2 free throws. And that is a foul on, I believe, Murray Boyles. Or Brandon Ingram. Camera pans over to Ingram. They do give it to Ingram there. Tristan said apologies for not talking, just listening at work. Whatever you want to do, brother. Whatever you want to do. We're tied at 13. We're under 8 to go here in this first quarter. Embiid rattles in the first one. And who is this subbing in? Elijah Martin. That's right. Elijah Martin coming in for Jamal Shed. I mean, Toronto is just searching for guys to give them some value. It should be Jacoby Walter. It should be Ochai Agbaji. It should be Grady Dick. And none of those three guards / wings have stepped up for them this year. And so Toronto's coaching staff, they're throwing out there Elijah Martin, see if they can get anything out of anybody right now. Embiid knocks down both free throws, giving Philly a 2-point lead. Under 8 to go here. Quickly has it up top to get it over to Murray Boyles. To kick it out to Ingram. Coming to right off the Murray Boyles screen. Driving it down mid-range. Pump fake. Steps through. Leaves it off of Murray Boyles. Pump fakes. Goes up. Beautiful pump fake. Set dribble. And he lays it up and in against 3 Philly defenders. Solid offensive play from the rookie. And then Paul George just throws it away, trying to get it over to Embiid. A bad pass. Just a sloppy play from the veteran there. Quickly bringing it down the other way, being guarded by Edgecombe. Coming to right off a Barnes screen. Barnes in the lane, leaves it off of Murray Boyles, and he goes in for a big dunk. He said, go ahead and jump with me, Joel Embiid. I know you don't got legs no more. And Embiid made a business decision, got up out of the way. Paul George bringing it down against Ingram. Get over to Maxey, curling to his right, driving it down against Martin. They can't get out to Barlow, back up top to George. George over to Embiid in the high post, up top straight away. Driving it down against Murray Boyles. Kicks it out in the corner to Edgecombe, ran off the line. Shoves it over to Embiid in the paint, puts up the little jumper, got it to go for Embiid. And we're going to get a Raptors full timeout here after the Embiid jumper. 17-17. Matter of fact, real quick, let's pull up the team stats already. We can also go around the league. Actually, let's go around the league real quick. There is only one other game that started, and it started off in a pretty crazy way. Utah got off to like a 21 to like 5 start or something like that. First quarter was 34-22 for Utah over Cleveland. Let's take a look at that box score real quick. Who's playing? Is everybody playing? Ari Markkanen, Cody Williams, brother of Jalen Williams. Yusuf Nurkic, Svi Mikhailuk, Keontae George is out there. Cool. But we get to Cleveland, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Sam Merrill. So outside of Max Strus, they have their regular rotation intact. My goodness. Just that's it. Embiid looks like a caveman. He does historically not do a very good job of taking care of himself, I will say. Like, like his hair and trimming himself up. But Donovan Mitchell with 13 and then not getting much help outside of the bench. The bench has stepped up and given him some help. With 13 for Donovan Mitchell, not much for the other starters. What else are we looking for Donovan Mitchell to do? Mobley, where are you? Garland's hit 1 of 3, that's it. Sam Merrill took 1-3 and missed it. Jared Allen's 2 for 4. They're just not getting production out of that starting lineup right now. Still only a 7-point game. So I did want to look at the team stats real quick. Oh, the other game started off too. Boston taking on Indiana. Funny the dynamic between these two games. One team is struggling a little bit more offensively, while Philly and Toronto are both going off offensively. Does not matter what the defense is looking like. I did want to look at the team stats real quick, just to look at the field goal percentage from both of them. 83% for Philly, 73% for Toronto. 5 for 6 and 8 for 11. My goodness, 3 for 3 from three-point range, only 1 for 2. My goodness. My goodness. How is this a tied ball game? I guess they've just had more shots at the basket. Some bad turnovers from Philly to start. How many turnovers? Only 2 turnovers. How does only 2 turnovers? They've made 3 threes, 2 more threes in Toronto, and they've made 4 more free throws. But they've taken 5 less shots. So Toronto winning the possession battle. This is, by the way, this is what winning the possession battle looks like. They have it tied at 17. Philly has made more threes and more free throws. And they've only turned it over 2 more times. This is what winning the possession battle can do for a team. Here we go. Under 7 to go. Oh, my timer's been ticking the whole time. My apologies. Under 7, 6:40 to go. Sandru Mamakhalishvili's in the game. Get over to Murray Boyles. Murray Boyles has it up top. Coming to his right. Picks up his handles, got nowhere to go, kicks it over to Ingram. Ingram in the right corner, being guarded by Oubre, he subbed in. Mid-range follow-away jumper over Oubre, can't get it to go, long rebound. Ingram picks it up, gets to the baseline, pump fake, leans in, trying to draw the foul. He does draw the foul, and Barlow is going to go to the foul line for 2 free throws. Eric C., what's up, Eric? Still on that grind, love it. I mean, we're live every day of the week, brother. Every day of the week, whether the Knicks are playing or not. We're going to sit here, we're going to watch these basketball games. I know it's Monday Night Football on tonight. So probably not going to get a big audience with a Toronto Raptors, Philadelphia 76ers game. But this is the most interesting game, in my opinion, here tonight. Although that Boston Celtics-Indiana game is probably also going to be somewhat interesting because Indiana's been playing pretty decently these last couple of weeks. And obviously, as Knicks fans, we got to root for the Celtics' downfall, but Ingram steps to the line and knocks down both free throws. Halfway through, where's my mic? Halfway through this first quarter, Oubre up top to get it over to Embiid. Embiid high post, being guarded by Murray Boyles. Swings it in the corner to Barlow. Behind the back, coming to his right, leans in, goes up, puts up the floater, got it to go for Dominic Barlow. Good aggressive move from him. And here come the Raptors in quickly, pushing it up the court. I'm trying to refrain from saying the word quickly when describing Quickly's play. Emmanuel Quickly with the ball up top. A lot of standing around for the 76ers here to get over to Murray Boyles. He's going to drive the lane, spin off of Embiid. Can't get the lefty layup to go over him. Embiid bringing it down now off the Dominic Barlow rebound. Quickly's going to pick up Embiid. Somebody got to come over and help. They get it out to Maxey, a deep straightaway three. Comes up short, can't get that one to go. Toronto will live with that when they had Quickly matched up on Embiid. They'll live with a deep Maxey three. Obviously, you can knock it down, but Ingram backing him down to kick it out to Quickly. Quickly a straightaway three. He can't get it to go. Battle for the rebound. Barlow pulls it down, and now here comes Embiid bringing it down the other way. Embiid picked up by Murray Boyles. Coming to his right off the Maxey screen. Get it over to Maxey. Coming to his left down the lane. Takes a bump, puts up the floater. Can't get it to go, but he will go to the foul line for 2 free throws and 5:12 to go here in the first quarter. Chi-Chi, what's up, Chi-Chi? Wish granted. Cat demanded a trade to Detroit. Knicks playing maybe. This guy. You got to stop mixing fantasy with your 2K leagues, brother. Suns Jen, what's up, Suns Jen? How's it going today? Today's been cool. Today's been fine. Today was an interesting day. Just some things that I wanted to get done, and just I don't know. Interesting day. Robes Pierre, what's up, Robes? That Raptors team will be really interesting in the playoffs. It's going to be really interesting for sure. Absolutely. I mean, this team is interesting in the regular season. I thought they were going to sink just because I'm like, how do these 4 players fit together? They don't really seem synergistic to me. And yet, they've been figuring it out even without RJ. And RJ's desperately needed with this team to get some downhill driving. Quickly, fall-away jump shot, can't get it to go at the foul line. Maxey did knock down both of his free throws, 21-19, under 5 to go here. Maxey coming to his left off the Embiid screen, a deep pull-up 3 for him, and he got it to go. Maxey starting to get unleashed here. Was quiet to start the game. Was very, very willing to allow his teammates to do a lot of the heavy lifting to start. But now Maxey looks like he's getting loose. CMB down the lane gets fouled. He gets fouled on a pass attempt. So the ball will remain with Toronto here, side out of bounds. 15 on their shot clock. Gigi said, I have to get you riled up. I don't get riled up with you, Gigi. Because I know you live in fantasy world. You can't get me riled up. So Ingram will inbound it. Mamukelashvili. They get it in there quickly, on the baseline. Gets fouled by Quinn Grimes. Former teammates, Quickly and Grimes. 4:30 to go here in the first. Adem Bona is in the game. And this is a guy I should be making a player graphic for. He is their backup big man. If Embiid is healthy and playing, Adem Bona is their backup big. Bona is out here guarding Colin Murray boys to get it out to Mamukelashvili, being guarded by Paul George. Mamukelashvili gets it over to Quickly, swings through to his left. Stops, pass fake, kicks it out to Ingram. Ingram fires up a left wing 3. He can't get it to go. Mamukelashvili with the tip, can't get it, and then can't snag the rebound, knocks it out of bounds. It's going to go back to Philly. Rose Pierce said Grimes with the carry violation pick. Grimes was famous for those carries that they would never call. Murray Boyles to the bench. Barnes back in for the final 4 minutes of this first quarter here. Maxey bringing it down against Elijah Martin. They get it over to Oubre. Oubre gets it over to George. George gets it over to Grimes. Quickly jump the passing lane. Grimes attacking to his left. Loses the handle. Picks it back up. Got nowhere to go. Hits Maxey coming back door. Down the lane. Draws the foul. Gets the layup to go. Going to go to the foul line for one more free throw after the layup. And Philly's on a 9-0 run now, giving them a 7-point lead. Maxey going to the foul line, trying to make it a 10-0 run for an 8-point lead. Maxey knocks down his free throw. Of course he does. He does not miss free throws. 10-0 run. 27-19. Jamal Shed bringing it down. He's also back in. Crosses over to his left on Grimes. Down the lane. Tries to leave it off for Barnes. Ball got knocked loose, but he's able to pick it up. Inside to Mamukelashvili. And he gets an and one in return to finally get off the schneid for the Toronto Raptors. 3:48 to go. He's going to go to the foul line for one more. Foul on Paul George. Good and one. Good finish through the contact there from Mamukelashvili. One of my favorite names in the NBA. And Mamukelashvili knocks down his and one free throw. Lead back to 6 here, or 5. Lead back to 5, 27-22. 3:40 to go. Get over to Paul George. Spins, coming to his right. Almost slips and falls down. Puts up the jumper. Got the jumper to go. And the foul, responding with his own and one situation. He's going to go to the foul line for one more. Trying to get the 8-point lead right back. Beautiful move on Scottie Barnes from Paul George. That's a heck of a defender he did it to. George at the foul line for one more. Got it to go. Toronto bringing it down, looking for an answer. Trying to build some momentum here. Elijah Martin has it up top, being guarded by Maxey. Get over to Mamukelashvili, being guarded by George. Mamukelashvili looking for an opening to get it over to Martin, tagging along the baseline. Layup, got it to go over Maxey. Martin looking for a foul call too, but he got the layup. Maxey bringing it down the other way. Maxey behind the back, coming to his left. Stops, turns, spins, coming to his right, being guarded by Shed. Great defense, better offense for Maxey. Jamal Shed, stride for stride, in step with Maxey. It did not matter. Shed inside the Mamukelashvili, who slipped to the rim, gets fouled by Oubre. He's going to go to the foul line for 2. Great pass for Jamal Shed. Mamukelashvili going to go to the foul line for 2, but we got a full timeout from the 76ers here first. 32-24. Under 3 to go in this first. Let's open this up. We'll look at this at the end of the first quarter. Cleveland's right there. 4-point game. They paddled back after a slow start. Probably on the back of Donovan Mitchell, although he's still sitting on 13 points. It's got to be on the back of everybody else, too. With the Celtics and Pacers locked in a tight one, we'll be able to watch the ending of this game as well as our game winds down here tonight. Maybe we'll throw that game up, and we'll try to do as many of them as possible. Let's pull that one up over here. Why not? Why not? This is Indiana versus Boston. Let's pull it up over on NBA. On League Pass. Oh, it was a Peacock game. Great. Why is this a Peacock game? Why is Boston, Indiana a Peacock game? All right. Let's throw this game on the side here. Keep an eye on it. Outside of that, these are our only 3 games going on here tonight. The late games, we have Nets taking on the Mavericks, Lakers taking on the Kings, Hornets taking on the Clippers. Of these 3 games, I guess Hornets-Clippers is probably the most interesting one after these East games. Kind of a battle of the mid here. Clippers have been playing better. Hornets have been playing better. But Lakers-Kings, Lakers should dominate the Kings. Nets-Mavericks, kind of a whatever game. Who cares? Who cares? I guess, actually, it don't really matter. Battle of the bottom over here. Battle of the bottom. Dallas is favored, -3.5. I thought that said Flag was averaging 25.9. I was like, what? When did that happen? That's Michael Porter Jr. Cooper Flag is averaging 19, 6.5, and 4. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy for him. And the Cavs will come back to tie it up. Just like that. There you go. There you go. Cleveland back into it. Boston leading by 5 against Indiana. They're approaching the end of the first quarter there. Boston taking up their defense. Sandro Mamukelashvili at the foul line. Misses the first one. He's got one more coming. Niall Dimitri. What's up, Niall? Sons Jen said, at least my Suns aren't on for you to root against. I'm done rooting against the Suns. I'm done rooting against the Suns. It was just a Washington thing, and it was a far-fetched idea anyway. Actually, I didn't even look at the ending of that game. That's how much confidence I had in the Wizards to actually pull that off. Very little. Very little. Jamal Shed has it up top. After Mamukelashvili missed both, but they grabbed the offensive rebound, and then Barnes walks into a mid-range shot, and he gets it to go down. 2:40 to go here in the first quarter. Maxey bringing it down the other way. Being guarded by Shed. Maxey looking for an option. They get it out to Oubre. Oubre gets it over to Embiid. Embiid up top, leaves it off for Maxey. Coming to his right. Pulls it back. Step back three for Maxey. Got it to go. My goodness. How do you guard this man? How do you guard? How are you supposed to guard him? He's so quick. You're trying to stay connected with him, and you're playing him for the drive, and then he just pulls it back like that and pull-ups from, 28 feet and knocks it down. Barnes to the basket. Can't get the lefty layup to go. It's way off, and then battle for the rebound. Here comes Philly. Maxey up top. He's clearly feeling it. Dancing with it up top. He's looking for open space. He finds it. Fires a three. Got it to go. It's a Maxey night. It's a Tyrese Maxey night. 38-26, a 12-point lead for Philly now. Here comes Shed. They get over to Grady Dick. He's trying to answer with a three. He can't get it to go. Battle for the rebound. Knocked out of bounds by Maxey. Maxey's feeling it tonight. Elijah Martin and Joel Embiid getting into it. And a double tech on Martin and Embiid. Guys wouldn't stop yapping as Martin was subbing out of the game. Ref just hits him with a double tech, trying to get them to shut up. Jamison Battle's in the game for Toronto here. They get it in the Battle. Battle gets it out to Mamukelashvili. Up top to Barnes. Barnes coming to his right. Tagging down the lane. Right into Embiid. Loses the handle. Tries to save it over to Shed, but is out of bounds when he touches the ball again. Ball's going to go back to Philly here, and they're already leading by 12. It's a Maxey night. End of the first quarter. Boston up by 5 against Indiana, 24-19. Very low-scoring game there. Philly on the verge of having a 40-point quarter. Embiid up top. Hands it off to Maxey. Coming to his right. Maxey gets it over to Jabari Walker. Now down low to Embiid. Pulling his way to the basket. Pump fake goes up. Gets blocked by Jamison Battle. And here comes Barnes driving it down. Draws a foul on Grimes. Out in the open court. They're in the bonus, so he's going to go to the foul line for 2 free throws. 1:12 to go. Just that's it. Maxey 18. Pure. I mean, he's 6% from the field. He's missed one shot, and it was a deep three. That's it. It's the only shot he missed tonight. Barnes knocks down the first free throw. Trying to cut the lead back to 10 at least. Minute to go. A little over a minute to go. Edgecombe subbing back in. Barnes knocks down both. Here comes Edgecombe. Edgecombe up top being guarded by Battle. Leaves it off for Oubre. Leaves it off for Maxey. Maxey being guarded by Shed. Coming to his left, spins, gets it over to Embiid. Embiid driving it down against Barnes. Backing him down in the paint. Pump fakes. One-legged fall-away jumper. In and out and in again for Joel Embiid. Just utilizing his size. Just bigger and stronger than everybody. Again, no Jakob Poeltl. They have no traditional big men out there to guard him. Jamal Shed down the lane to kick it out to an open Grady Dick. Right corner three. Can't get it to go. Brother, they're going to need you to start knocking down some shots. That's why they drafted you. That's why you're in the league. Edgecombe down the lane. They leave it off for Oubre as the trailer for a three. He got it to go. And everything's coming up roses for Philadelphia here tonight. Trying to get some revenge after losing last night. Here comes Mamukelashvili, a 15-point deficit after the first quarter. 43 points in this first quarter for Philly. They are 7 for 8 from 3, though. Shed puts up a 3. He can't get it to go. Edgecombe with the rebound, pushing it the other way. They're going to have at least one more offensive possession here. They leave it off for Maxey. Maxey being guarded by Barnes. Maxey attacking to his right. Now he's going to play off the Embiid screen, coming to his left. Steps back, hesitates, crosses over between his legs. Now coming to his right, leaves it off for Embiid. Embiid swings through to his left, gets fouled by Scottie Barnes. That's 2 fouls on Barnes, and Barnes was not happy with the foul call. Just that said, I wasn't paying attention and figured it was the second quarter by the score. The Raptors are going to use a challenge here? I don't know about this one. He had his left arm holding on to Embiid. 43 in the first quarter for Philly. Here's the thing. Incredibly hot shooting night for Philly. Incredibly hot shooting night. They are 7 for 8 from three-point range. So eventually they'll slow down from the perimeter. Toronto will likely get back into this one, but, we'll see. We'll see. Toronto's going to have to make some shots to get back into it, obviously. So on the replay, it looks like Barnes gets all ball with his right hand, slapping down and knocks the ball loose from Embiid, but he's holding on to his left arm, his right arm with his left arm, which is his shooting arm. So I don't see them reversing this call. Foul's on the left arm there. Interesting challenge call. I know that's Barnes' second, but he only had 5 seconds remaining here in the first quarter, and I don't think it's worth challenging. I don't think it's worth challenging at all. And Boston's come out to start the second quarter. They're on a 12-2 run, going back to that first quarter. Over the last 5 minutes, they're turning up the defense here, and they're starting to pull away from Indiana. Indiana's really struggling to score. So it is a foul on Scottie Barnes. Unsuccessful challenge. Really bad challenge, in my opinion. Really bad challenge. Just dead to the Green Lantern looking thing, a signal for a challenge. They have to come up with a better way of signifying for a challenge, man. I hate the way they signify for a challenge. Embiid's at the foul line for 2. Can give them 45 first quarter points. Again, they've made almost every three-pointer they've attempted tonight. The only one they missed was the one shot that Maxey's missed tonight. It was a deep straightaway 3. So he's clearly feeling it tonight. Embiid goes 2 for 2 from the foul line, giving them the 45-point first quarter. My goodness, Toronto on a heater. Philly on a heater tonight in Toronto. Shed lobs it up to Barnes. Barnes down the lane, puts up the floater. Can't get it to go. Embiid with the rebound. And that is the end of the first quarter right there. Incredible offensive first quarter from Philly. Explosive first quarter. Just that's it. It's the worst challenge possible. We've seen some bad challenges this season, and even the last couple of years since they've introduced the challenge rules. But that challenge right there was terrible. First quarter, a very obvious foul on Barnes. There's no idea why you challenged that one. No idea. We have this Boston-Indiana game up here, and it is a 6-point game. Toronto still hanging around. There you go. I mean, Toronto. Oof, got Toronto in the brain. Indiana still hanging around, although Siakam did miss a free throw. Just that to the Raptors uniform looks good though. I do like a lot of these teams going back to their old uniforms, their old styles, their old logos. Just the NBA was better when we had goofier logos. It was way better. Like, stop all this minimalist nonsense. Let's get back to having fun. This is sports. This is a game. This is a kid's game. Let's get back to that. Let's stop acting like there's no fun and pop and color. I love the Raptors going back to the purple. Lana Mona said, is Philly for real? Yeah. They're interesting. They're very, very interesting. Are they for real? In one sense. They could definitely upset a team or two, especially in a Eastern Conference that's very, very weird. Very even teams across the conference. I don't think they're a real threat to Detroit. I don't think they're a real threat to the Knicks, who are the two, cream of the crop teams in the league. In the East, I should say. And it's back to a 4-point game, 36-32. Boston over Indiana. Love to see it. Love to see it. Indiana got to pull off that victory for us. MBM said Toronto has no comeback ability. They haven't had good comebacks this year. I haven't taken notice in particular about Toronto, but we'll see, because Philly had such an explosive first quarter. It's just hard to imagine that'll continue the rest of the game. It should give Toronto an ability to make a comeback here. They are down by 17 now. 45-28. Here comes Embiid. Bringing it down against Lawson. Got A.J. Lawson out there. Like I said, they are searching for somebody to give them something from their role players off the bench. They swing it out. Quinn Grimes, the left corner three. And that's not a good way to start the quarter for Toronto, as now they find themselves down by 20. The Sixers, they just said here on the broadcast, they've missed 3 shots in total here tonight. Quickly attacking to his right, down the lane, stops, turns, pivots, spins. They kick it out to Lawson. Lawson gets it over to Battle. Battle fires up a left corner three, and he gets it to go. Toronto not even playing all that bad offensively or defensively. Philly is just in fuego here tonight. My goodness. Edgecombe coming to his left off the bonus screen. Now off of Paul George screen. They get over to Paul George. Quick catch and fire straight away three. Way off on that one. Battle with the rebound. He's bringing it down the other way. Leaves it off. Tries to leave it off of Grady Dick. A bad pass. He is able to pull it off, though. Cross-court pass. Wide open three for A.J. Lawson. And he got it to go. Back-to-back threes. 14-point game. And Edgecombe has it up top. No Maxey, no Embiid. Interesting lineup here for Philly. You get it up top to Grimes. Jab step. Coming to his right. Down the lane. Scoop layup. Can't get it to go, but he does draw the foul. That's a 30-13 run, 84%. They just are not missing tonight. Sometimes that could happen. Toronto's got to stay true to their principles and just play their percentages, man. They're not. I highly doubt they're going to knock down 25 threes tonight. Thurston said Philly has a habit of letting other teams have a sniff. They are susceptible to giving up comebacks. Quickly off the handoff from Barnes. They kick it out to Grady Dick. Another three. In and out, halfway down for Grady Dick, but he can't get it to stay. And Edgecombe shot out of a cannon, pushing it the other way. Leaves it off for Jabari Walker. He fires up a right corner three, and he gets it to go. Everybody's getting threes to go tonight. The only two guys who've missed threes are Maxey and Paul George. Barnes has it, driving it down against Bona, draws the foul. Foul on the floor. MBM said Philly not tough but talented. I don't know. Maxey's pretty tough. Edgecombe's pretty tough. Got some tough dudes out there. Battle gets it over too quickly. Quickly driving it down in the paint, kicks it out, beautiful pass. They swing it over to Battle, pump fake, sidestep, sets his feet and fires. Comes up short on that three. And here comes Grimes bringing it down the other way. Grimes hesitates, crosses over to his left, stops, hesitates again, leaves it off for Jabari Walker in the paint, and he lays it up and in. Where'd that other three come from? What three did I miss? It's 56-34 now. Quickly steps back, pump fakes to kick it over to Battle across the baseline, but he steps on the sideline trying to attack the baseline, and it's at a bounce ball going back to Philly here. Philly's threatening to run away with this one. You guys know the rule. If they get it up to 25 and we get into the third quarter and we don't see a comeback happening, it might have to end up being an early night. We will keep it. Maybe we'll switch over to Boston, Indiana, I guess, here, because it is a three-point game there. Barnes or Toronto picked up a steal. And then A.J. Lawson gets a layup and a foul. Good hustle from Toronto there, but cool, you cut the lead to 20. Got a lot of work left to do. Great defense from Barnes. He ended up getting blocked by Bona, who, you know, I love Bona. I've always been a big fan of Bona. You can go back and listen to the draft show or go read some of my tweets about that draft class. I was rooting hard for the New York Knicks to draft Adem Bona. I was a big Adem Bona fan. NBM said cut the lead to 20. They cut the lead. They did cut the lead to 20. It was 22. Good and one. He knocks down the free throw. Now it's under 20. That's kind of where you want to be. At least under 20. For now. We'll see if Philly slows down their shooting. Grady Dick goes for a steal and ends up fouling Oubre. 9:11 to go. Just that's at 11 for 11 from the free throw line. Sheffy's sign of approval. This is what shooting 11 for 11 from the foul line gets you. 20-point lead. This is why you got to knock down your free throws. Just that's at 13 made 3 so far. Yeah, they're on pace for what? They're on pace for like 30, 33-ish threes tonight. Edgecombe adds to the number, knocks down a 3 there. My goodness. It's back up to 22, just like that. They're 10 for 12 from 3. They're on pace for like 35, 36 threes is Philly tonight. A.J. Lawson fires up a 3. He can't get it to go. Battle for the rebound, knocked out of bounds. It's going to go back to Philly. Oof. Thurston said just 4 steps to get back into the game. I mean, we're not even going to talk about that they could sniff under 15 here. They're sitting at a 22-point deficit. And here comes Philly. Without Maxey and Embiid, they're extending the lead. Edgecombe will pull a 3. He adds to it. Everybody is knocking. It's one of those nights. We are witnessing history tonight. We are going to witness history. Lawson down the lane gets fouled. This is insane. This is insane shooting, by the way. Like I said, we're witnessing history. This game is going in the record books for team shooting. What are the most amount of? It's like 26 or 27, something like that. NBM said check the ball. I mean, if that were the case, they're playing with the same ball. Wouldn't Detroit also be knocking down some shots? You get it in the Mamukelashvili, who pump fakes. He's going to drive the lane, take a bump, put the floater, can't get it to go, but a foul on Edgecombe. Mamukelashvili to the foul line for 2. Most made 3s in an NBA game. Uh, 29. More than I thought. They made 29 in 2020 by the Bucks, and the Celtics matched it in 2024. Philly is going to hover around that if they can continue this. My goodness. Magnets in play. Well, you know what? You're right. They got to check the ball. They may just have a magnet on the other side of the rim. Maybe they'll try and move it at halftime. Or maybe Toronto will get hot in the second half. Who knows? But Mamukelashvili really split the free throws. You're not going to make any kind of comeback if you can't knock down your free throws. Paul George coming to his right. He pulls up from 3. He can't get that one to go. Paul George is not invited to the three-point party, it seems. He's now missed 2. His dad said PJ laced it 2 times. Insane shooting night. Quickly coming to his left off a screen, loses the handle. Edgecombe picks it up, shovels it ahead to Oubre. Oubre loses his balance, but he's able to lay it up and in anyway. And a timeout for Toronto. 64-38. And I thought this was going to be a good game tonight. I mean, why would it not be? They just played an overtime thriller last night, and they got a Brandon Ingram back. I know Philly got Embiid and Paul George back, but still. Philly's just having one of those kind of nights where they cannot miss. I mean, said Indy's getting jiggy with it. I do have that game on over here on the side. Unfortunately, I don't have this setup for Boston or Indiana. But we'll hang out as long as we can. As long as this game is threatening, y'all. It's threatening. It's up to 26 here. My goodness. MBM said, might have to take Philly seriously. Philly's good. You should take them seriously. I'm not worried about them, but they're not going to roll over. Too talented. Led by Tyrese Maxey, who's too good, too dominant of a basketball player. Indiana with the lead, by the way. There you go, Indiana. J. Huff is going to pump fake down the lane. Crazy reverse layup. 360 reverse layup for J. Huff. Why would he do that? Who knows? Style points added on top of it. But Indiana's got a 3-point lead, and they're having fun. MBM said, love Maxey. I love Maxey. I love Edgecombe. And I'm so disappointed that they're wearing Philadelphia jerseys, man. It means I can't root for them. Can't root for them properly. Just that said, Cooper and VJ have a record average 16, 5, and 4. Yeah, but I will say Cooper Flag has a lot more on his shoulders as the go-to creator for that team, especially with Anthony Davis now out. And his defense has been a little bit more impactful. I'm going to give it to the guy who has way more on his shoulders, way more responsibility on his shoulders. Like, Edgecombe is awesome, don't get me wrong. But he could just hide behind Maxey if he's not having a great night. He could just hide behind an Embiid or Paul George or even a Quentin Grimes if he's not having a great night. Cooper Flag, who is he hiding behind if he's not having a great night? Especially now that Anthony Davis is out. Durden said, thought AD retired. I don't think he retired. He's out with another injury. All right, here we go. We're checking back in. 7:40 to go. Ozahar, what's up, Ozahar? Just that to imagine if Drummond gets traded and starts flamethrower. Oh, Drummond shooting threes this year is my favorite subplot. Ball gets knocked out of bounds. Toronto's going to have to inbound it again. MBM said 80 and ambulatory go together. And there were people seriously saying trade Karl Anthony Towns for Anthony Davis. In 2K, you make that trade 10 times out of 10. But when you can't expect Anthony Davis to actually play basketball games for you, keep him away from my franchise. Quickly missed his original pull-up jumper, but Toronto does get the offensive rebound and then quickly knocks down a floater. It's 64-40. Edgecombe down the lane. Up top to Embiid. Embiid back to Edgecombe, back to Embiid. He's being guarded by Murray Boyles. Spins to his right, spins to his left, fall away, foul line midi, got it to go. I mean, alongside of them being flamethrowers from three-point range, they just have nobody to guard Joel Embiid, so it's been just a horrific matchup for Toronto tonight without RJ and without Pirtle. Ingram coming to his right, they get over to quickly extra pass to Mamukelashvili for a three, too strong, fight for the rebound, knocked out of bounds, saved in by Toronto, though. Who was that who dove out of bounds? It was Elijah Martin. Shout out Elijah Martin, man. He's hustling. I like his moxie so far. I haven't seen him take an offensive shot, but he's clearly digging in defensively. They did talk about him a little bit during the commentary, and they were talking about how he's taking pride in his defense. Obviously knows that's how he's going to garner minutes here, but I like his moxie so far. He's playing hard. Picked up the double tech, talking Talking smack to Embiid. I like it. Mamukhalishvili gets it over to Ingram. Ingram being guarded by Oubre, blows past him down the lane against Embiid. Can't get it to go. Grabs his own offensive rebound, leans in to kick it out to Mamukhalishvili. Gonna pump fake from 3. Hands it off to Ingram. Swings through to his right. Down the lane again. Euro steps. Knocked out of his hands. He dives for it. Saves it out to Mamukhalishvili. High arcing 3. Comes up short. Battle for the rebound. Still loose. Fight for it. Knocked out of bounds. It's gonna stay with Toronto. I mean, it's nice that they're battling for these loose balls. It's more than nice. It's great. It's awesome. It's incredible. But the reason they're having to fight for these loose balls is they just can't make a shot right now. And with Philly being absolutely flamethrowers, the entire team from the perimeter, it resulted in this 26-point beatdown so far. Ingram fires up a right wing 3, and he misses. Barlow with the rebound. Here comes Edgecombe. Edgecombe, as we hit the halfway point here, over to Embiid, over to Maxey, coming to his left. Leaves it off for Embiid. Down the lane, big one-handed hammer in the lane, and it's a 28-point beatdown. And it just definitely feels like the confidence is out of Toronto right now. Down the lane, Toronto kicking out to nobody. They get it back to Elijah Martin. They leave him wide open for a 3. He can't get it to go. Now here comes Oubre bringing it down. Oubre gets it over to Embiid. Embiid has it up top, being guarded by Murray Boyles. Swings through to his right, pulls it back, loses the handle, and it goes into the backcourt. It's going to be a backcourt violation. That's a doubles the shooting percentage. Oh, it is not a good game. Not a good game. Thought we were going to get a good game. It's not a good game. This Boston-Indiana game seems like a pretty dang good game, I'll tell you that. It's 51-50 with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. Jamal Shead gets it over to Ingram. Ingram at the foul line, leaves it off for Sandro Mamukhalishvili for a dunk. That's a really good play right there for Toronto. Jared McCain is in the game for the first time. He's bringing it down. Backing to his left to the basket. Layup, got it to go. .28-point beatdown. Shed coming to his right. Toronto's looking a little lifeless here. Elijah Martin draws a foul on McCain, who seemed to start the game, seemed like he was kind of out of the rotation, getting squeezed out a little bit as they're getting healthier. Not great for Jared McCain. Definitely a buy low target for a team. We'll see. We'll see. MBM says slipping away. I mean, it's almost entirely slipped away. It's almost entirely slipped away. It's a 28-point beatdown. If they can get this to around 20 before halftime, they'll have some kind of hope. But if this is still hovering 25 and over, not looking good. The comeback is not looking good. 28 points, I'm pretty sure, would be the largest comeback in the NBA this season. Anyway, so we're witnessing history one way or the other. Either Philly is making over 23, 24, 25 threes tonight, or Toronto's going to have an incredible comeback on their hands. Elijah Martin knocks down both free throws, though. 26. 2 threes, and it's back to 20. 2 threes, and it's back to 20. 4:40 to go. Maxey has it up top. And a moving screen on Oubre. Jamal Shead pulling off of Jalen Brunson. Drawing the foul on the moving screen off ball. Jamal Shead bringing it down. 26-point lead for Philly. Shed has it up top. And this is home for Toronto, so this is not great. And then Shed just throws it right into Embiid's hands. A horrific pass from him. Literally just softly lobbed it right into Embiid's hands. The kind of plays you can't have when you're down 26. They get it over to Embiid, hands it back off to Maxey. Maxey fires a 3. He's clearly feeling it today. He knocks down another one. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted watching it. I'm exacerbated watching it. It's a 29-point beatdown. They're going to get it to a 30-point lead before halftime. Barnes fires up a 3. He can't get it to go. Maxey, it's one of those kind of games. You can't even really evaluate much from it. It's one of those kind of games where Philly just can't miss right now. Get over to Embiid. Embiid gets it over to Oubre. Oubre up top, walks into a pull-up three. Almost banked it in, but he misses it. Barnes with the rebound. Hit ahead to Ingram. Attacking to his right. Shoves it over to Murray Boyles. Reverse layup over Embiid. Can't get it to go. Embiid can't grab the rebound. They kick it out to Shed for an open three, and Shed comes up short. Barlow with the rebound, and now here comes Embiid. Looking to get it to 30 here. 30-point lead incoming. Embiid has it up top. MEM said, we're watching just for the record threes. Yeah, at this point we are. We got a full timeout from Philadelphia here. Boston leading by 3 over Indiana. They're a minute and a half away from halftime. But we're going to give them to the third quarter. Toronto Raptors, see if they can make this even somewhat interesting here tonight. Highly unlikely, but we'll see. Highly unlikely. Now, Dimitri said the 76ers are bitter for yesterday's loss. Yeah, I mean, look, you lose yesterday in a game they shouldn't have lost. They should not have lost that game. They should not have gone to overtime, and they should not have lost it in overtime. That's what I was legit hyped for the Jets a few years ago. How 3 plays into the season. Is Aaron Rodgers playing well? Or the game just started, didn't it? Right, 8:35 start time. Yeah, game just started. Yeah, I mean, I get it. What Rodgers is doing or what he's done so far with Pittsburgh this year is what was promised to happen for the Jets 2 years ago. Just that said, how cursed are the Jets that Rodgers is having the run they hoped he would have had with them. Yep. Just that's a Rodgers' great start so far. I mean, he's been here before. Still 3-point game, minute and 30 to go here in the second quarter. Boston leading over Indiana. Embiid with 15, he's 5 for 6. Maxey with 21, he's 7 for 8. It's a ridiculous game between those two guys. MEM said Pisto loses. Yeah, I think so. So there was a technical. Ingram knocks down the technical free throw. Who picked up the technical? Don't know, but Toronto gets a free point out of it. Ingram knocks down the technical free throw. Watching the end of this Indiana-Boston first half here. Neesmith, the right wing three. Airballs it. Edgecombe gets it into Paul George. Paul George being guarded by Ingram. Get over to Embiid. Going on the baseline. Tries to lob it up top. A bad pass gets picked off. Barnes bringing it down. Leaves it off for Quickly. Quickly has it up top. Hands it off to Ingram. Coming to his right. Hits it over to Shed. Inside to Barnes. Kicks out to Ingram. In the lane. Throws up the floater. Draws the foul. He's going to the foul line for 2. Thurston said, has Rodgers ever won a Super Bowl? He has. When he was back with Green Bay in his prime. Won the Super Bowl. One time. And end of the first half, Boston with a 3-point lead over Indiana. At least that's a close, good game. We clearly picked wrong here tonight. Sometimes it happens. I probably should have planned ahead and I just figured this was not going to be that close of a game. I know Indiana's been playing much better as of late, but Boston's also been playing pretty dang good. I just expected Boston to just have a 10 to 15-ish point lead the whole night. That is not the case. That is definitely not the case so far. Ozar said, I think the Sixers will win. I think that's a good guess. I think that's a good guess. Toronto knocked down both free throws. Back to a 26-point game. Edgecombe up top, attacking to his right. They kick it up top to Embiid, a straightaway three. They give it to him. He's way off on that one. Quickly with the rebound. 2:30 to go. Quickly, hands it off to Ingram. Attacking to his left, crosses over to his right, down the lane, draws the foul. It's on the floor, but they're in the bonus, so still 2 free throws for Ingram. Tyrese said, gotcha, thank you. Gridiron, not that popular over here like the NBA is. Yeah, that was years ago. That was when he first took over for Favre. What year was it? Can't think of the year off the top of my head. Somebody will know. NBM said Boston best record over the last 20 games, I believe. Yeah, I saw a stat similar to that NBM. They're playing well. I just figured, and I know Indiana's playing pretty well as well. I just figured Boston is the better team and should be able to run away with it. But I love that Indiana's hanging there with them. I hope they pull it off. Oda said the Sixers snapped the Raptors already. Ingram knocked down both free throws. Here's the thing. If you can get it to around 20, going into the second half, you'll have a chance for a comeback here. Edgecombe to the rim, can't knock down the layup. But knocked out of bounds by Toronto. It'll still be Philadelphia ball. If you can get it to around 20, you come out in the second half, it's not an insurmountable lead. Right? You got to look at it as in it's in sections here. Embiid has it in the high post, foul line extended. Lean in, fall away midi, got it to go. I mean, this is too good out of that range. You need a taller player. Colin Murray-Boyles can't save a tough pass. It goes out of bounds. Their best matchups for Embiid tonight are Colin Murray-Boyles, a rookie, who's like 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", and Scottie Barnes, who's like 6'8", 6'9". And Edgecombe walks into a three and knocks it down, and just like that, all momentum is pulled back away. And it's back up to 29, just like that. Philly is inching on a 80-point first half here. Quickly fires a left wing three, he's way off. Laurie Walker with the rebound. Maxey will bring it down. I think the biggest detriment to this Toronto team is Embiid and Maxey were off the court for extended minutes. Maxey fires another three off the back rim there. Oof. And here comes quickly pushing it the other way. Maxey and Embiid were off the court for extended minutes, and during that time, Philadelphia extended the lead to 20+, which is like a death sentence. Ingram fall away midi, can't get it to go. Maxey pushing it the other way. We're under a minute to go here. Maxey's going to dance with it against Ingram. Coming to his left off the Embiid screen. Driving it down. Steps back. Gets it over to Embiid. Being guarded by Murray-Boyles. Embiid backing him down. Loses it. Ingram comes over and fouls him. Edgecombe. It's Maxey. Maxey down the lane. Draws a foul on Barnes. He's going to go to the foul line for two. And that should give them the 30-point lead that I think they've been looking for this second half of the second quarter here when they built the lead up to 25+. Been hovering around 29. Maxey now to the foul line for two opportunities to knock it to at least 30. 78-49. And everything I said about possibly getting it to hover around 20, out the window. It's gone the other way. Now going to hover around 30. Maxey rattles in the first one. Almost missed it, but he got it to go down. And there's your 30-point lead for Philly with 33 seconds to go into this first half. He rattles in both. And quickly we'll bring it down. Pitiful performance from Toronto here. Ingram's going to dance with it. Back to his left. Stop, turn, spin, all the way in the lane. Got it to go. This is why I'm not too particularly concerned with any of these teams. Whether it's Philly or Toronto. And I know Toronto's missing a bunch of guys, and this is an outlier game for Philly in terms of shooting. But this is why I'm not concerned about any of these other teams in the East. To me, it's Knicks, as Edgecombe misses the three at the end, and that will end our first half. It's the Knicks and it's Detroit. And then it's everybody else. It's those two teams as the cream of the crop of the conference, and then it's everybody else. I don't care how close Boston is in the standings. I don't care how close Philly is. I don't care how close Toronto is. Those guys are a tier below. Just that's a Toronto Raptors 3 for 20 from 3. And we got to look at and Philly's 13 for 19. So they're probably not going to get to the, even close to the record of 29 made threes in a quarter, which happened twice this year. I just remembered the time the Celtics did it was opening night of 2024, in which they did it against the New York Knicks, and they win the final, I believe, like 4 or 5 minutes of the game, jacking up threes, and they couldn't knock one down, for the record. That just came to me. That connection just came to me, unfortunately. That's an Uber is a plus 31. I mean, this whole game you could just throw out for this team, man. Just that said, sorry to add stats. Would you like the FIBA rules for the NBA, or would that? You don't have to apologize for adding stats, brother. I appreciate it. Would you like the FIBA rules for the NBA, or would that be a worse product? I don't think it'd be a worse product. It's just a different product. I don't think they have to implement the FIBA rules. And by FIBA rules, I assume you mostly mean the goaltending rule, that you can knock it off the rim and whatnot. I just think the rules have to be enforced better. My ultimate takeaway about the NBA. They do a really poor job of enforcing rules or legislating rules in the NBA. Like, offense has all of the power in the NBA nowadays. Right? Defense is constantly playing on its back foot with like both hands tied behind their backs. Jakey, what's up, Jakey? Evening, brother, evening. We can look at the box scores, go around the league a little bit. Like I said, I have the Boston-Indiana game up on the other monitor just because this game has been so bad. But if we look at the team stats here, my goodness. Philly is shooting 73% from the field. It is absolutely baffling. Toronto has fallen down to 37%. So that's not great. I'm not going to lie, this halftime performance is throwing me off because it's so bad, but this Toronto halftime performance is cringy. But Philly, 13 for 20 from 3. And that's actually them cooling off a little bit, 13 for 20. They cooled off significantly from three-point range. They were 7 for 8 from three-point range at the end of the first, something like that. So they cooled off in the second quarter. Again, technically they're on pace for like 26 made threes, but the second quarter, cooling off in the second quarter probably tells me that they'll hover around where they usually shoot from three-point range on the remainder of the game. The issue for Toronto is they're down 31, or 29. Let me get it right. They're down 29 going into the second half. So even if Philly just has a regular offensive second half here, they have a 29-point lead. So How many points did they score? So they scored 45 in the first quarter and 35 in the second quarter. Again, like, this is a really good first quarter here, but it's not like, oh my goodness, what an incredible first quarter. Like, that's a really good first quarter, 35 points. The 45 points in the first quarter is the killer for Toronto. They also only scored 23. Like, at least try and keep pace a little bit to get back into this one. Just that said, refereeing to the no calls on drives by the Merchant FIFA allows more contact. It's not that they allow more contact, just as dead. The rules are the same on the drives. It's not that the rules allow more contact in FIBA. They just legislate it differently. The rules are exactly the same. Like I said, my issue with the NBA rulebook is the way it's legislated. It's the way these games are called. According to the rules, more of these fouls should be called. Or, like, more of the contact should be let go in certain situations, right? Like, there should be more charges than they are. The NBA definitely leans more towards calling blocks on defensive players than charges, even when offensive players lower their shoulder or extend the off arm, or even if they don't fully extend it. The chicken wing is an illegal offensive move. You cannot do this to disregard a defensive player. What is a defensive player supposed to do? Because if you breathe on an offensive player, you're called for a foul. If you look at a guy the wrong way, you're called for a foul. There's all of this minutia to help protect offensive players when we should just be legislating it so that defenses could actually play. Part of the issue is the league got way too physical in the 90s and early 2000s that it became a really bad product to watch. It was not as entertaining of a product. And so David Stern and the league started to transition itself a little bit more to more freelance offenses, and that was the introduction of getting rid of the illegal defense rule. A lot of people, to me, that is the turning point of the NBA for modern basketball. That is the turning point, is when they took away the illegal defense rule. If you guys don't know, back in the day, they used to have an illegal defense rule where you had to be within guarding distance of your matchup. So you could not play zone. But a lot of people just think like, oh yeah, you couldn't play zone. And then they got rid of that rule, and now teams are allowed to play zone. And that's not really what the rule impacted with modern basketball. So the original rule for illegal defense meant that you had to play man-to-man because you had to be within legal guarding distance of your matchup. So whoever you were guarding, you had to be within legal guarding distance. I keep saying that, but what is legal guarding distance? Legal guarding distance, I believe, was defined by an arm's length away. That was legal guarding distance. You had to be an arm's length away of your opponent, which is why when you watch, even like old school basketball, you go back and watch early 2000s or 90s basketball, oftentimes when guys are in help side, they are guarding in help side like this, where they're holding on to their matchup with their off arm and watching the other side of the court, because they couldn't just shade over the way they do now. Like oftentimes now, if like take the Knicks for example, because we watch Knicks games obviously, right? If Jalen Brunson has the ball on the right wing and he's isolated, or maybe he's trying to run a pick and roll with Towns or somebody, the entire court, the entire defense will shade over to the strong side and force Jalen Brunson to try and hit a cross-court pass to the wing or the corner, because that gives the defense enough time, and also they're ready for it because that's the pass there. So as soon as Brunson rises up to throw a cross-court pass, the guys on the back end are like, cool, we're rotating already. So number one, pass could be picked off, and number two, even if it's not picked off, it's a good pass and it's a bullet pass or whatever, we can make that rotation and run guys off the line, and then all of a sudden the ball's out of Jalen Brunson's hands. You couldn't do that back in the day, which is why the league was dominated by one-on-one scores. By your Kobe's, by your Jordans, by your Barkleys, by your Shaqs, by your post players, because you could not really double guys in the NBA. And you may be thinking, okay, well, if that rule was in place, how did teams double team? You could double team a guy, but you had to commit to the double team. You couldn't like hide and then shade over and then maybe jump back and then shade over and then jump back. You had to just go, right? So if you were bringing a double team, it was very obvious. It was very obvious because you couldn't hide it in any way. Now NBA teams do a really good job of hiding double teams, where it's like, hey, we're going to shade over for a double, we're going to bring over a double team. Nope, psych, we're not. And then all of a sudden you picked up your handle for the pass to make a pass because you thought the defender was coming over, and now all of a sudden everybody's in denial. You picked up your handle in the wrong spot, and now you have to pivot and kick the ball out and reset the offense, and now we just took 3 or 4 seconds off your shot clock. But it's also part of the reason why one-on-one players like Jordan, like Kobe, like Barkley, like post players like Shaq and Ewing and Robinson and all those guys really benefited from the rule book because it was designed in a way to allow guys like that to function. Nowadays, like the one-on-one scoring, like Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr. and even just like the regular isolation scorers that do it at a high level and do it well, like Jalen Brunsons of the world, like the Maxeys of the world, like Embiid. They don't do as well, and constantly we're like, how come they can't just move the ball more? Because the rule set dictates now that the NBA offense should be more ball movement related because of how defenses are allowed to shade over all the time. Mark said, what the heck? Scoreboard. Scoreboard's crazy tonight, Mark. Crazy. Crandon, what's up, Crandon? I believe whoever you matched up against, you had to guard them all night. Yeah. I mean, you could switch matchups. It didn't like the rule book didn't say your point guards have to guard the other point guard. You could switch up matchups, but whoever you were matched up against is who you had to guard. Manuel Mercado, what's up, Manuel? Just checking in. Is this score for real? Yeah. I mean, this is for real. 13 for 20 from three-point range. They actually cooled off in the second quarter. They were shooting the lights out of the ball in the first quarter. The game has been crazy. That's a big state in the paint. Yeah. Just that said, back in the day, there was a stigma on who could shoot threes. Now, every 1 through 5 will shoot a three. There was a stigma on who could shoot threes because, like you said, bigs stayed in the paint. That was just the play style at the time. But also, like, guys weren't good at shooting threes yet. Like, it wasn't a skill that they had developed to the point that players are developing now. Like, even your best three-point shooters back in the day were only shooting, 3, maybe 4 threes a game, if that. And that was a lot. And those were, like, the guys who were shooting a high volume of threes, 3 or 4. Now, guys shoot 3 or 4 threes a game, and we're like, yeah, he's a low-volume three-point shooter. High-volume three-point shooters are shooting like 10-plus threes. Mark said, RJ playing quick? No RJ tonight. No Jakob Poeltl. So, and that is Toronto's only big man. And Embiid is playing tonight, so they don't have a matchup for Embiid. They put Colin Murray-Boyles on him to start the game. And they've switched like Scottie Barnes onto him at times. But they don't really have anybody to guard him. But it doesn't really matter because to start the game, this isn't like a matchup thing or anything. This is just one of those kind of nights for Philly where they just couldn't miss a shot. They're shooting 73% from the field. And in the second quarter, it was bad defense from Toronto. But in the first quarter, it was good defense from Toronto. It just didn't matter. And so at that point, the game was over. And Philly's continuing to light the Nets on fire. It's just one of those kind of games where it's just a throwaway at this point because they can't miss right now. My goodness. No RJ, though. No RJ. Brandon, I think most teams would shoot more 5 as a team. I mean, it's slowly gone up throughout the years, so. And they had that one weird year in the 90s where to incentivize teams to shoot more threes because they weren't shooting as many threes as David Stern had hoped by introducing the three-point line in 1980. It hadn't gotten to the point where teams were shooting more threes yet that David Stern had hoped would to help speed up the pace and generate more offense because it was getting rough. It was getting rough to watch. And so he moved the three-point line in a little bit more, and that's when you saw like crazy three-point shooting seasons from like Jordan, who was not a good three-point shooter, was a mid-range shooter, but because the three-point line was moved in, started to knock down some threes. Dennis Scott had a career year from 3, even though he was a good three-point shooter for his time. Jakey, what's up, Jakey? Where are you from, Chef? Is it okay? It's okay to ask. I'm not going to give you a specific answer, but I'm from New Jersey, from the Jersey area, the northeast area. Yeah, Just Dead put it in the chat. Marjan, I did not know Marjan Beauchamp was on Philly. Shout out Marjan Beauchamp. Once a Nick, always a Nick. Yeah, Toronto. Oh, Toronto. I didn't even realize Toronto was without Jacoby Walter. I just figured he was not playing today. He just has not been very good this year. Dougie Hepburn, Jakob Poeltl, and RJ Barrett are the bigger losses for Toronto this night. Been a rough night for them. It's just flat out been a rough night for them. Looks like we're going to start getting back to our game here. I don't know how much longer we're going to continue to cover the game, if it's going to continue to be this level of a blowout. But I think I successfully filibustered my way to the second half here. I made it. Not much to analyze is the unfortunate thing. Utah, hold on, we can still go around the league though. Utah with a 9-point lead over the Cavs here. That'd be nice. Utah picking up some victories. I know we're rooting for the bottoms of the league to lose because of the Washington thing. I just don't honestly think Washington's going to be able to get to that point. We'll see. But looks like Cleveland's on the verge of yet another really bad loss. Boston and Indiana are halfway through the third quarter. Why is our game just starting here? How is this? How is Boston, Indiana flying through their game? They started at the same time. They both started at 7:30. How is it? How are they halfway through their third quarter and we're just starting our second half? What was up with that halftime then? Nets, Mavs they're just getting going here, 25-19, and then you got the late games. Not a great NBA slate tonight though. Not a great. We have some games we could talk about tomorrow's schedule because the Knicks are not playing yet again. We got Suns Heat. That's a good one. Suns Jen, if he's still in the chat. Brandon said, you streaming this whole game or might try a different one? I mean, we have the Boston, Indiana one up on the side. But I don't have, like there's a whole setup. There's a whole setup that happens for these games. There's the thumbnail that I don't have made. There's the title I'd have to change, which is not a big deal, but it's just Embiid misses a 3 to start the third quarter. I just don't have it set up to just switch over to the game. I mean, we could and just hang out. It's just, Jake said, I'm from Rochester, New York. Presently live in Niagara Falls, New York. Appreciate you, Jake. Appreciate you. Shout out to you, big dog. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He said, congrats, Marjan. Hope he ends up getting a real shot. I mean, I just think he's been given some shots. Just not getting it going. Embiid misses another 3. We probably won't end up calling this game as tightly as we do in terms of, going through every action. But I'm just looking for Toronto to give us a sign, show us some heartbeat here. Get it to under 20, make it interesting at least, right? Battle for the loose ball. It's going to stay with Toronto. Off the missed jumper. That's in Spurs versus Thunder tomorrow. That's a good one. Yes. I did see that. You're right. We do have Suns Heat. Got Bulls Rockets. We can do this. Real quick. Go through tomorrow's slate. There's some good games. Bulls Rockets might even be interesting. Timberwolves Bucks might be even interesting with Giannis. Boston down 10. Love to see that. We do have the Spurs Thunder. So we might do Spurs Thunder. We might even do. No, we're not going to do the late game. Blazers Warriors. We're not going to do that. 11 o'clock start time is crazy. We're not doing that. Can we do an early game? No, they all start around the same time. So we do Spurs Thunder tomorrow. Why not? They have all been bangers. They've all been bangers. So we're going to do Spurs Thunder tomorrow. All right. It is 82-51. Ingram dancing with it. Kicks it out. Quickly a 3. Got it to go. The crazy thing is that the game started off and it was 17-17. And then Philly started to light the Nets on fire because Toronto was keeping up with them offensively. They were knocking down shots. Am I just this far behind on this game? Hold on. Oh, yes, I am. All right, let's live. There we go. It's 82-54. Turnover from Toronto. Ball going back to Philly here. It's a 28-point game. Like I said, Toronto just got to give me a sign. Got to give me a sign for us to get real active into calling this game again. As for now, we're just kind of gonna hang around for a little bit. We're gonna call this Boston Indiana game because that is the more interesting game so far. Maxey's gonna fire a deep 3 and airball it. Just that's at 18-19. Then it got bloody. Yeah, then it got real. The shots stopped falling for Toronto, and they never stopped falling for Philly. And that was ultimately the difference. That stretch right there. Shed kicks out the quickly. Jab step coming to his left. Out to Jamal Shed. A 3 comes up short. Jason said, Sheffy and chill mode with this on. I just, you guys know me. I'm not going to fake the energy. There is no energy in this game. The building is like half empty right now in Toronto, whether people have left or they're just hanging out, like maybe grabbing some food. That's what I would do. I would go hang out by the concessions, grab some food. And B draws a foul. He's going to go to the foul line for 2. But Embiid will go to the foul line for 2. So tomorrow we have on the docket, we're going to do the Spurs Thunder game, 8 o'clock start time. We'll be live at 7:30 as always, half hour before the game. We'll run through the pregame. But Indiana up by 8, 68-60. Jazz Cavs. That one's in the fourth quarter. Maybe I'll put that game on. I'll keep this game here. But I'll go over to the League Pass account and put on this Cavs Utah game just to watch the ending of that one. It's an 8-point game, so at least it's more entertaining than this one we got going on. Green said, the thing I hate most about today's NBA's teams will go down like 6 points and immediately think they need to start breaking threes. Fair. Fair criticism. Absolutely. Teams get way too trigger happy. The second they feel any kind of adversity, it's like, all right, we're going to start chucking up some threes here. Quickly throws up an airball floater. And Edgecombe lines up a 3 and he gets it to go down. My goodness. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. It's 87-54. 8 minutes to go in this third quarter. Barnes a foul line pull-up jumper and he gets it to go. We just talked about teams jacking up threes. But you can't trade 3s for 2s when you're trailing by 30. You can't do that. You can't do that. Utah out hustling the Cavs right now with another offensive rebound. Under 5 to go now when they got the 8-point lead. Ingram quickly, another 3. Can't get that one to go. Quickly, off the offensive rebound. Bringing it out. What you got, Toronto? Put a run together. Don't get absolutely embarrassed here tonight. Put a run together. A run. Get it to 20. Scottie Barnes can't knock down the 3. Been that kind of night. Okay, Hazy said Edgecombe's going to pass Curry. A lot of guys are going to pass Curry who are not nearly as good shooters as Curry. Curry came into the league in 2009 where we're not jacking up threes as liberally as we are now. We'll all remember Barnes just beats everybody down the court for a 2-handed slam. But we'll all remember who the greatest shooter of all time is. The offensive stats absolutely a little inflated, which again bums me out with the way the NBA legislates their defense. Allow them to be a little bit more physical, man. Crane said, not much to say here. LOL, this game as ugly as it gets. Yeah, we'll probably end it after the third quarter here. Just because Toronto's not showing any signs of life so far. I mean, Barnes just had a nice fast break dunk, but down 29 still. They have not made any headway so far. Quarter is still 7-7. So we'll probably get, unless they make a run and make it somewhat interesting, we'll probably end it after the third quarter, which you guys know I don't like to do. I don't like to just not cover games. Like, if we're covering a game, we might as well get to the end of it. But when it's a night like tonight, and Keontae George gives Utah a 10-point lead with 4 minutes to go. Cleveland about to go down. what we can do, go over the standings a little bit here. Not there. Here. Go over the standings a little bit. If Cleveland and Boston both lose today, that would be glorious. It'd be absolutely glorious. Cleveland's already in the play-in. Cleveland, what are you doing, guys? Zoom in a little bit, get those ads out of there. The Knicks still 3.5 games behind Detroit. But they do have 3 games coming up very soon against Detroit. Or 2 more games, I believe, over the course of the next month. They have 2 more games against Detroit. Mitchell can't knock down a midi. And they're under 4 to go. So looks like Cleveland is on the verge of going down. But the Knicks will have the opportunity to definitely catch Detroit if they want to catch Detroit. Absolutely will have the opportunity to do so. I'm not too concerned about the Knicks dropping any further down than 3. Yeah, other than 3. I think the toughest stretch of their season might be over. Like they'll have harder games, obviously, but the toughest stretch of the season was definitely while they were going through that injury. That injury situation where they lost Shamet, and then they suddenly lost McBride, and then Brunson was out for a couple of games, and he came back, and then Towns missed a game here and there. Robinson's been dealing with the injury management stuff. Then Josh Hart goes down for an extended period of time with the ankle sprain. And then you face some tough competition after the Cup. Guys are tired, a lot of travel, West Coast road trip, all of the things. So I do think that was a really rough stretch of the schedule for the Knicks as we approach the halfway point of the year and teams are starting to look, especially the good teams, are starting to look at the schedule and being like, how much longer do we have till the All-Star break, man? So hopefully they start turning things around. They had a good victory against Portland. This game not being interesting. Now I'm just talking about my teams, my favorite team, the New York Knicks. Paul George can't knock down the fall-away midi. Ingram, home run pass to Murray Boyles. He beats them down the court for a 2-handed slam. They can just do that a couple more times. Just that to the Texans score. That's another thing we could do. We could look over at the NFL. You can look over at the NFL. 6-point lead for Indiana, by the way. 6-point lead. 79-73. Let's look at the NFL real quick. What's going on with this game? 7-3. 8.5 in the second. Okay. Max, what's up, Max? I bet $2,000 on the Raptors. Unfortunate, brother. Unfortunate. MBM said fourth quarter, when they empty the bench, the Raptors will lose by 7. Absolutely. It's usually what happens. Still a 29-point game. 89-60. After the run-outs that Toronto was able to pull off, 2 run-outs for 4 points, not made any headway into cracking this lead. So this game's over. Both teams are jogging and walking around at this point, so I think Toronto is just resigned to the fact that they're going to lose here tonight. And, I don't love that sort of mentality. I get it, but Maxey knocks down a 3, so you know what? That game's over. No chance. So we're gonna end it. We have 5:30 to go remaining in that third quarter. So we'll just ride it out to the end of this third quarter here, and we'll wrap it up for the night. It's not worth sticking around for that fourth. Just that said, nothing wrong with having an early night to bed. 6 a.m. comes around pretty fast. It does. You're right. No wrong about that. Some time to go read my book. We can do that. I can always do that. Go read my book for a bit to end the night. Don't always have a ton of free time to do so. Ingram, another jumper, can't get it to go, but an offensive putback by Murray Boyles. Kay Hazy said, so disappointing. Yeah. I think, honestly, the most disappointing part is the fact that Philly slowed down. If Philly would have just kept up the quick pace for me, I at least would have been invested in Philly making history tonight, but they slowed down, and they're not going to even come close to the making three-point history. They might not even get the 20-plus tonight. They are 15 for 27 now, so they've really slowed down with their three-point shooting. And they said Rodgers looks old. I mean, he is old. Oh, he is. Yeah, he is old. Manuel Mercado said, I don't know the first thing about NFL, but it looks fun. I'm a big casual when it comes to NFL, which is why I stick to my wheelhouse with the NBA and basketball, because I love basketball far more than I love football, but football is the more popular sport. So, who knows? Maybe next year. We'll start covering some NFL games. Because, here's the thing. Tonight would have been great to cover the NFL game versus, playoff game, Steelers versus Texans. Would have been great. Issue is, I'm a basketball guy, so I'm covering these basketball games. And we just got a really, really bad matchup. Really bad game on a night where, I'm sure the football game's going to be great. I'm sure it's been fun so far. Any sport in their playoffs, the games end up being fun. I even like watching hockey playoffs, and I'm really not a hockey guy. Brandon said T-Wolves playing great basketball. Let's go. They are playing great basketball, Brandon. Big win against the Spurs. Nice comeback. That was a team that's been there before versus a team trying to get there. We have a challenge here. Guys, it's a 28-point game with 4:18 to go in the third. You don't need to be challenging calls here. This has to be such a crappy job for I have the Toronto broadcast on. It is at Toronto, so Toronto's home. It has to be such a crappy opportunity and a crappy job to be one of the hype people, during these timeout situations and during the halftime and whatnot. Everybody in the arena, well, majority of people in the arena are Toronto fans. And I'm sure nobody's in a good mood after the performance they're giving tonight. And yet these people still have to come out and be like, hey, guys, Toronto fans, let's get going. Hey, let's give a big round of applause to the guys coming out. And it's no, man, we're upset. Our team's down by 30. We're getting embarrassed tonight. No, I don't want to root for these dudes doing a silly performance at halftime here as they're flipping and dipping around. We don't care. It's got to be such a crappy situation, even for the performers who are out there okay, this is the crowd's not into it and we have to put a smile on our face. Antonio, what's up, Antonio? Where's PG? PG's out there. He's doing his thing. He said, this is why I always said Drew was a technically better defender than Cat. The way he locked up Wemby, it's always been about effort. Oh, here's the thing, KAZ, you're not wrong, because Julius Randle, I've always said, and I consider a very good defender. Not just a good defender, it can be a good defender. He's a very good defender. The issue is whether or not he's locked in, whether or not he's mentally focused, and whether or not he's emotionally stable in that moment. He's had moments where he's putting himself in situations where he's put himself purposely out of position, not purposely, but out of position by just being far too emotional in the moment and angry at the refs or angry at the situation or whatever. Way better of a defender than Towns. Towns he can be a decent defender at times in certain situations against certain matchups, but Randle was just flat out a good defender, in my opinion. Durston said, got to do some work. Catch you tomorrow, Head Chef. Appreciate you, Durston. We will be live tomorrow. Unfortunately, we got hit with a bad game here today. It happens. It looks like Cleveland's going to go down to the Utah Jazz, though, and the Pacers holding on to a 2-point lead. I'm going to turn this game off now because Utah's up by 12 with 1:50 to go. So we can get rid of that game. Cleveland will go down, and we'll keep an eye on this Indiana-Boston game. That's a 2-point game. We'll keep an eye on it. Just that said, I still think the hypest arena in the NBA has to be Memphis. They host a party at the games. There's just some great arenas. Unfortunately, Golden State would also be up there, but they have since gotten rid of their. They've gotten rid of their. Not gotten rid. They've moved arenas and they've moved areas, and so their crowds just aren't the same. And their arena just isn't the same. OKC is up there. They're really good. Obviously, New York I would put up there. Boston can kind of get there. But you're right, Memphis, a lot of these smaller market teams are often overlooked. People are like, oh yeah, Boston, New York, the Lakers, and out in LA. Oh yeah, those arenas are great to play in. But you're right. A lot of people, even Toronto, when Toronto won the championship, a lot of these smaller bases are overlooked, like Memphis, Toronto, Oklahoma City. Golden State, not so much anymore with the Chase Arena versus Oracle Arena. Antonio said, okay, I need 1 more 3 from him and 7 more from Scottie. Maybe you'll get the Scottie thing, but I don't think we're going to see Paul George the rest of the night, brother. This one is, maybe we will, maybe. But this one's is over. This one is on the verge of being over. Not on the verge. This one's over. We'll see if they decide to put PG back out there, especially with the way he's been injured so far this year, right? It's 93 to 68, 25-point game. Couple threes, get it to the teens. But like you guys said, this will end up being like a 7-point loss by the end of it. It'll hover around 10 at some point in the fourth quarter when both teams put their end of the bench guys in. Ingram gets it over to Quickly. Quickly over to Murray Boyles. No look pass. 3. Got it to go. I don't know who that was. AJ Lawson? Okay. Okay. 22. 7-0 run. Does that to Jaylen Brown. Gonna blow up a gasket when he finds out Scottie Barnes won Player of the Week. Absolutely. He's gonna hop on stream. Tell everybody how terrible it is that he didn't win Player of the Month. Most prestigious award of all time. We have 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Grimes gets it over. You know what's funny is, we're going to end the stream at the third quarter here, and I'm going to wake up tomorrow, or I'm going to, see later tonight that Toronto has made one of the biggest comebacks in NBA history, and the game's going into overtime. They made this huge fourth quarter comeback. That's what I'm going to read, or that's what I'm going to see, and we're going to end the stream early. Indiana's still holding on to this 3-point lead. Now 2-point lead. 79 to 81. It's a back and forth affair. We picked the wrong game tonight. But who would have thought Indiana would be able to hang with Boston with the way Boston's been playing so far this year? And the way Indiana's been playing so far. They literally are the worst team in the NBA record-wise. They have been playing well as of late, but it does not matter. Kay Hayes said, Brown really out here just whining. Yeah, listen, man, there are definitely things to have a gripe about and whine about when it comes to the NBA. The Player of the Month award is not it. That's not the thing. You got to have your sights set higher, brother. That was embarrassing. That's embarrassing to go on this, campaign trail of just whining and crying. But a Player of the Month award, brother, nobody cares about the Player of the Month. I can't tell you who was the Player of the Month last month. I can't tell you who was the Player of the Month for the Western Conference. The only reason I know Brunson won it this month is because Brown was complaining about it. Grimes throws up a brick. Still a 28-point game. Now it's 20. No, it was 22. My bad. I can't do math. It's a 20-point game. We're gonna hang around a little bit in the fourth, see what Toronto has. Just a little bit. It's 20. They can get it to the teens. We're under a minute to go in the third. Toronto's keeping me hanging around. Unless Paul George hits this, you can't get it to go. Toronto, the fans are getting into it now. Crowd's into it. Toronto over to Grady Dick for the reverse layup. It's 18. They're going to keep me hanging around, guys. I said we're going to end it at the third. They're going to keep me hanging around. Grant said Player of the Month, boo-hoo. I don't even know who won it for the West. My goodness, Maxey. What the heck? It looked like he was going to fall over. It looked like he just threw it up at the rim, but no, he was just shooting a fall-away jump shot. He got it to go. Indiana with a 7-point lead with 8:30 to go here. Love to see that. AJ really needed that 3 to go down. It's back to 20 here. Oh, you can see right here. We're against points. Oh, no. It's gonna stay 20. I guess they're going to shoot it at the buzzer here. PG. Got the layup. No, it is 99. All right, now they give it back to him. Yeah, 99-77. You got to get that shot off, big dog. You're down 22. What do you think? 22-point lead in a fourth quarter here, is it possible? They're going to keep me hanging around. Just that said, last night, Denny shot more free throws than our entire team by 2, and despite the overwhelming evidence, Brunson will still be called a foul baiter. Yeah. Leads the NBA by a margin for and ones, too. I mean, the and one thing is very... Oh, no, Jaylen Brown tonight. That's probably why. That is probably why they're hanging close with Indiana tonight. Did not realize. Brown is on the bench. Crandon's in Boston losing makes everyone happy. Same in the Lakers. Absolutely, Crandon. As long as you don't put the Knicks in the same category. But yeah, Boston losing, Lakers losing, everybody else wins. Everybody else wins. It's 89-83, under 8 minutes to go in that fourth quarter. Just as that said, Brown is on Twitter. MBM said no comeback. Yeah, but can they make it interesting? Can they get it like to around 10 with like 4 minutes to go, and then we all get interested and excited, and we could start talking about the 4 layers of a comeback? And I can give that speech again. I do, trying to hype up any kind of comeback. Just that's a needed a game off. The counter all the players of the week. True. MBM said they're just selling more at the concession stand. They are. I mean, actually that's not true. I have been to Knicks games back in the day where they just get absolutely smoked and ran out of the gym. So I know what it's like. You know what we do? Me and my dad, you know what we do? We go to the concession stands, we get a beer, we get some popcorn, and usually like people start to clear out, they start to leave early, and then we find like an open space, and we sit down, we put our legs up, we sit there, we eat some popcorn, we hang out, we just talk while there's a live basketball game going on. We just hang out. That's all it becomes. We just hanging out. We find a spot where we can put our legs up, spread out a little bit, because you know those seats are tightly packed. And I'm saying, not without RJ. Very true. Very true. I'll give them 4 minutes here. If they can get it to like 12 in these 4 minutes, under 15. If they can get it to under 15. Just that said, do you trust Kolek? The non-Brunson minutes yesterday were the only time our offense looked whack. Deuce, Hart, Clarkson are ultimately not true point guards that can run the offense like Kolek can. Here's the thing, Judge, is that I do trust Kolek. I do. He's going to have bad moments. He's almost essentially a rookie. Jamal Shed comes out with an and one floater. He's almost essentially a rookie because of how little he played last year. As a second-year guard. But I do trust Kolek. Here's the thing about it. You needed Clarkson when you were dealing with the injuries that you were dealing with because you needed a guy out there to like. And shout out Jordan Clarkson. He won. He swung great games, important games for the Knicks. Pull them off. They don't win that San Antonio Cup game without him. They don't win the Christmas Day game without him. They don't win a couple of games after that without him, where he scored 20-plus in a couple of those. Hit ahead to Grady Dick, to the basket, layup. Can't get it to go. Does draw the foul. He's going to go to the foul line for 2. Like I said, under 15. I'm going to give him 4 minutes here to get him under 15. Moran said VJ Edgecombe is a dog. He is. Kolek is a beast. I do like Kolek. Let's go Texans. I can see it. Crandon said, about to say, only foul baiters I know is SGA, no KC Winers. SGA is a foul baiter. Here's the thing. Brunson, like every other star in the league, Jokic does it. Brunson does it. Literally name anybody else we want to. Jaylen Brown will do it, even though people will tell you he doesn't. Every star. Anthony Edwards does it, even though people will tell you he doesn't do it. Every star initiates contact, flails their arms, throws the ball at the rim, and then looks at the refs and go, call the foul. Every player does that. The foul baiting stuff, Embiid is huge. Trae Young is huge at it. Like you said, SGA is huge at it. Although I do think maybe it got to him a little bit and he's starting to not do it as much. But Yeah, there's definitely a difference between a guy who does a really good job at drawing contact, drawing fouls, and playing by the rules versus a guy who just like blatantly falls down looking for a foul. Onyema, what's up, Onyema? Can't believe Toronto calling into the game close. We'll see. Moran said in Brunson, I trust. MEM said I trust DK. Yeah, well, here's back to my thing. When the Knicks are fully healthy, which they are approaching to be fully healthy with Landry Shaman on his way back, probably sometime next week we'll start to hear about him ramping up to come back into the game. The Knicks fully healthy, I don't think they need Jordan Clarkson's skill set as much as they need Tyler Kolek's skill set. So I would replace Clarkson in the lineup with Kolek fully healthy, but I would have Clarkson over Kolek if they were missing like a Jalen Brunson, or if they were missing a Deuce McBride, if they were missing a scorer off the bench like a Landry Shamet. You kind of want Clarkson a little bit more. But like you said earlier, who was it? Justice's dad or something? I think it was Justice's dad. We said it earlier, like their offense started to sputter with no Jalen Brunson in the game because we don't really have a true point guard in McBride or Clarkson or guys like that. Moran said 47 watching real ones. Indiana still holding on to a 6-point lead. They're past the halfway point of this fourth quarter. Quinn Jackson can't get the three to go. Peyton Pritchard shot out of a can, bringing it down the other way. It's 101-82. Under 15 by the 8-minute mark. So they have 2 minutes to go, Toronto does, to keep me hanging around. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get there. (101-82). 19-point game. They kicked out to Paul George for a three. Can't get it to go. Battle for the rebound. Embiid lays it up and in. Hovering around 20. They got a minute and a half to cut 6 points off this lead right now. 2 threes. Scottie gets the end one. That'll do. That'll work. 3 points there. You can knock down the free throw. Brandon said defense is a crime in today's NBA. Yeah, unfortunately, I hate the way they legislate defense in the NBA nowadays. The offense gets away with way too much, man. They allow offenses to get away with way too much. Now it's a 1-point game. Just under 5 minutes to go, 90-91. Boston knocked down a couple of shots here. Derek White hits a three. 103-85. Inside to Embiid. Win slam. 20 points. Minute to go. And we're probably going to wrap it up there. He said Grady has to be so disappointed in himself. I mean, he should be. He should be. They really needed somebody to step up here. Hold on. It's 17. If they hit a basket, it's technically 15. They're going to keep me hanging around. Get a stop and a score. And a moving screen on Embiid. Grady, yeah. Grady is I talked about it earlier with the injuries that RJ has had this year. They needed a guard/wing to step up in his absence. And we're talking about Grady Dick. We're talking about Jacoby Walter. We're talking about Ochai Agbaji. Literally any one of the three, or maybe all three in conjunction together, needed to give them something. Ingram steps through with a layup, smokes a layup. You got to get that scoop layup to go, Brandon Ingram. What was that? You were right there, brother. You could have got it to 15 and you would have kept me around. But now you're not going to get it to 15. And it's because of you. It's because of Brandon Ingram we're gonna end this stream early. He couldn't get it to 15. Brother, you got to get that layup to go. Antonio said, what is Ingram doing? He hasn't scored since halftime. He's not doing a whole lot out there. I'll tell you that, Antonio. He just missed a wide-open layup right there. Brandon said, I feel like there are a lot of teams in need of what, a PG? My team is one of them? I'm going to assume because you said my team is one of them, I think Minnesota needs a point guard. I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah, there are a lot of teams that need a point guard. Or George gets fouled by Jamal Shed. A PG. Yeah. 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 You guys definitely do. You guys definitely do need a point guard. You might be able to survive without him, but, for now, in the regular season, but I do think it's going to become an issue when you start getting into games 3, 4, and 5 of high leverage playoff games against good teams. Moran, Austin Reeves. I'm good on Austin Reeves. I'm good. All right, we're at the 8-minute mark. I'm going to get a Raptors timeout. Okay, they have 3 seconds. I'll give them this last offensive possession here to cut it to 15. We'll do it. MEM said, why Sheffy inevitability? What do you mean? Why? I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. Brandon said 38-year-old unconnelly, no offense. To him, ain't it? I mean, he should be in the Kyle Lowry role, the former Udonis Haslem role of like player assistant, like end of the bench. You're getting played like a player. You are technically a player, but you never play. You're on the bench, essentially as a player assistant. But they don't have a point guard, so he gets minutes. Moran said, not the Knicks. We don't need Reeves. He's the best guard. I'm good on Reeves, brother. Even on the Lakers, I'm good on Reeves. You want to talk about a foul baiter and a flopper? Reeves is right there with him. Luka, never brought up Luka as a foul baiter and a flopper, but he is one. Can't look at that guy the wrong way without getting called for a foul. NBM said John wants Minnie. I'm sure he does want Minnesota. That's a good one. The issue is, like, what is the trade package going to look like? We saw, like, what a pitiful trade package the Trae Young one was. John Morant, arguably had higher highs maybe as an individual player. Trae Young had one as a team, getting his team to the conference finals. But, how desperate, because Atlanta at a certain point has became desperate to move Trae Young. How desperate is Memphis going to be to move John Morant? It's a 2-point game with a minute to go in this one. At least we'll get to watch the end of this game here. 2-point game, Indiana with the lead. Pritchard to the basket, gets blocked by Siakam. All right, hey, all right, there you go, Siakam. Not John needs to go as a 6-man. I don't know if I consider him a 6-man. He's still. We watched the 76ers versus Grizzlies game, and John Morant was awesome down the stretch of it. He still has it in him. He just needs to change the scenery. He just needs a fresher voice or something. I don't know. Nembhard misses the step back jumper. Boston with the rebound. 33 seconds to go. They're down by 2. All right, I'm going to give Toronto this last chance here. This is their last possession to draw me back into this game. They got it to 17. I said 15 at the 8-minute mark. And Ingram slips and falls and turns it over. Brandon Ingram has been terrible tonight. Arlo down the lane, takes a bump, can't knock down the floater. We're going to stay live to the end of the final 30 seconds of this Indiana-Boston game anyway, so I guess we'll just keep this going. Lanamona said, is Philly for real? Philly's fine. They had an incredible shooting night tonight, and they are only sitting on 105 points. Scored 19 points in the third quarter. I get that they had a 30-point lead, but I'm not afraid of this team. They had an incredible shooting night. Brandon said, Ingram breaking his own ankles. Yeah, he's been terrible. Moran said Philly can be a threat. I mean, they can be a threat. They're threatening, but they're not scary. Not worried about them. Like I said, it's Detroit and New York as the cream of the crop in the Eastern Conference, and then it's everybody else. Not worried about anybody else in this conference. Not even worried about Detroit, but they could very much win the East this year, for sure. Quickly misses a pull-up three. Philly will bring it down. Philly is inconsistent, absolutely. I mean, even from the first half to the second half. Again, I know they had a 30-point lead, so they took their foot off the gas pedal. But that's the thing we talk about all the time. You can't take your foot off the gas pedal to this degree. They have 105 points. They scored 45 points in the first quarter. They could not miss. Scored 35 points in the second quarter. They only scored 19 in the third. Maxey, a fall-away jumper, can't get it to go. It's still 17. Can you get it to 15? Toronto, go over to Murray Boyles. Euro slips down the lane, tries to kick it out, turns it over. My goodness, they've been terrible. Both teams have been terrible. Nobody can buy basket right now. And then quickly fouls Maxey. Moran said the Magic? I'm definitely not worried about the Magic. They got to prove that they could actually play good basketball with Banchero in there before I take the Magic seriously. Grimes dancing with it. Get over to Maxey. Maxey draws the foul. Creighton said Magic can't shoot the three for nothing. I mean, that's why they got Desmond Bane. He just, for whatever reason, people go to the Orlando Magic and they forget how to shoot. I don't know what it is. Happened with KCP. Happened a little bit with Bane. He's getting back on track. But definitely happened a little bit with Bane there. Wagner's also back. Wagner's also very good. It's nice to have Mo Wagner back. Not Franz. Franz is still out. But it's nice to have Mo Wagner back. And Derek White knocks down a floater. Ties the game up at 96 here. And a timeout for Indiana. Jalen Suggs and Gonzaga. Jalen Suggs is really good. He just is always hurt. Always hurt. We're really just hanging out to the end of this Boston-Indiana game, but you know how that goes. It's timeout after timeout after timeout after timeout. There's that said the whiteouts for both teams are dropping passes left and right. It's sad and terrible watch for casuals like me. I'm sure it's better than what we got going on tonight, though. This has not been a fun watch. Making the best of it, though. Murray Boyles can't get the reverse layup over Embiid. Back up to, what, 19? They get it over to Embiid. Embiid gets it over to Barlow. Barlow back to Embiid. And he loses it. Ingram gets a layup. Finally, a good play from Brandon Ingram. 17-point game again. Get it to 15. I've been asking for 15, but they're past the halfway point. I just don't think that there's enough time. Brandon said Rudy Gobert will be suspended for the Bucks game, all for his flagrant foul. Yeah, sixth flagrant foul. His sixth flagrant foul. You get 6 flagrant fouls, and it leads to a one-game suspension. They get it into Oubre. Oubre gets blocked. Ingram saves it from going out of bounds. It's a 4-on-1 fast break. Murray Boyles, terrible behind the back pass to get over to Barnes. He can't get the layup, but he misses the. You got to get that layup to go down, Barnes. Got to get that layup to go. Brandon said, "My name is Brandon Ingram. Stop making us look bad." Is it really Brandon Ingram? Oh, here we go. End of the game. Siakam has it. Spins. Pulls up the floater. Banks it in for Siakam with 6 seconds to go. Boston does have a timeout. They're going to use it. There you go, Indiana. There you go. Now, no threes. No threes. Coach Tyrese Halliburton up off the bench telling his team, one stop. One stop, fellas. One stop. That's my Halliburton impression. One stop, fellas. We only need one more stop. Barnes knocks down both free throws. There's the 15-point game that I asked for. I guess we could talk about the 4 layers of a comeback. with 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go. 4 layers of comeback, get it back to 10, get it to a single possession game, take the lead, win the game. Embiid misses a jump shot. Quickly with the rebound, here comes Shed. Shed leaves it off for Quick. Hero steps down the lane, gets caught in the lane, kicks it out to Ingram. Ingram attacking the open space, throws it over to Barnes. Flip jumper in the paint, and get it to go down. All right, here we go. Boston's coming out for the final possession. We know this game's over. They're just making it interesting. Just that said, Maxey still in. Has to be stat padding player of the week. Embiid gets the layup to go. I mean, Toronto, they're hanging around, man. They're staying close, keeping it close. Embiid's still in there. Everybody's still in there. But back up to 17 off the Embiid layup. Again, that game's over. We're just watching the end of this game, and then we're going to end it. They get it into Pritchard. And Indiana had a foul to give. I think Nembhard maybe used that a little too early. Maybe he felt like he was out of position and just used the foul. So Boston inbounded again here. Derek White, deep pull-up three. Can't get it to go. Indiana with the rebound. And Boston loses to Indiana, baby. There you go. Again, I'm rooting for Indiana wins solely because I do not want them to have a top 3 pick this year. I mean, they made it to Game 7 of the finals and possibly win the championship unless if Halliburton doesn't go down with the Achilles tear. So no, I don't want to see them add a top 3 pick to this team. I know they lost Miles Turner, but and there's nobody in the top 3 who I think is going to fix that issue. But they're going to add Peterson, DeBansta, Cam Boozer, Wilson. This draft is too deep. But Boston is now officially one back in the loss column of the Knicks. It was fun while it lasted, I'm sure, for Boston fans. I'm sure it was fun while it lasted. Just that to the 2-man from Maxey and Embiid is impressive. Yeah, when healthy. Absolutely. Can be. All right, so that game's over. Boston takes the loss. You love to see it. Actually, and that's going to wrap it up. Again, we were only staying to watch the end of that game. That's going to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. This was the last time we updated the score. It was 87-58. It is now 109-92. But the game is over. It's 17 with 4 minutes to go. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. Even on a night, there's 46 of us here in the show. Even on a night where it was some terrible basketball and we didn't have a ton of watching and a ton to go over. But you guys still stuck it out. We're still hanging out watching sports because that's what this is about. So I very much appreciate it, y'all. We will be back tomorrow with hopefully, probably a significantly better game as the San Antonio Spurs will take on the Oklahoma City Thunder for the 4th time this year after San Antonio swept them 3 times in a week. So I'm sure the Thunder are going to look back tomorrow and come out like their hair is on fire and look to send a message to the league like, hey, we're still the champs. This team, cute story, but we're good. So, should be an extremely fun game tomorrow. Shout out to all of the channel members. Shout out to all of you guys for hanging out with me for what feels like a really long night because felt like this game was over an hour and a half ago. Right as it started, felt like this game was over. So, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. We will be live again tomorrow. It is an 8 o'clock start time, so we'll be live at 7:30. Remember to brush your teeth before bed, stay hydrated, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Good night, everybody. Bye!